of them. You're wasting all your time and money on models. Paint what you have.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Model Club TV, episode 116. As always, my beautiful co-host and lovely Scott Johansson.
Yeah, there we go.
Dude, we're both dying. So you are going to notice in this video different levels and stages of my voice going in and out as we go throughout the week. We've kind of had to piece all of this together. This episode is going to be a little different. It is just going to be Wonderfest preview with a little mini news section in the beginning, maybe emails at the end if we can fit them in. But man, how are you, Scott?
I'm doing great.
So we weren't making out. We got sick separately. I got sick.
What happened is Jason's mom kissed him on Mother's Day. And then, well, you guys know. Anyway, go ahead. All right, so
that sounds about right. So yeah, so when I made that announcement video about Scott being sick, we're going to postpone stuff. Like 2 days later, I start getting sick. So I don't know what's going around. But Scott, you had a checkup on the cancer. Do you want to update people on that right up front?
Oh, just a cancer checkup is we're good for another year. Things are still growing, but growing slowly. They have to be a certain size before they do anything. And this may be something I still outlive. So,
yeah,
who knows? It's not a dire thing. It's something that still plays games with your head from time to time. But as the yearly thing gets closer, it screws with your head more. So now that I'm just past it, it's kind of a calm.
Yeah.
But then of course I catch this flu or whatever it is. And so Wonderfest, for me, by the time this comes out, I'm probably not going to have a lot there to sell. Okay. I'm going to have some old kits that belong to a friend of mine, maybe some of mine, but I just can't worry about it. It's I got to get healthy enough to go, and that's it.
Yeah. And I think we're in the same boat. Everything has just happened in the last 2 weeks. In about 2 hours from recording this, I have to call to find out if I have jury duty tomorrow. So that might if I end up on a jury, that could throw everything into chaos for the next couple weeks. So who knows? I'm hoping I don't have to go. But I'm glad you're alive for another year. And
sure, yeah.
Still breathing. It's good.
Only about the ratings for you, that's all.
Oh, yeah. Yes, you're right. Don't make me laugh.
There he goes. Die.
So yeah, I sound terrible. So we're going to try and keep this as short as possible.
And if I've been a little crazy the last 5 days, I've kind of been steroided up. And
I warned him with my asthma. I always end up getting antibiotics and prednisone. And I said, dude, get ready. You're going to roid rage out.
I was okay for about 3 or 4 days, but the last couple days, even yesterday, you'll love this story. Well, yesterday, it's not going to be yesterday when this airs, but anyone that knows me knows I like plain hamburgers. Okay. So a plain hamburger to me is a meat and bun.
No,
okay?
and
salt, but that's okay. So I order my hamburgers plain. I go to this place weekly for my wife and I, and inevitably they got to put cheese on my stuff. Okay, not a big deal. I guess
yesterday I ordered a hamburger and I got cheese.
So, normally I'm pretty nice about it. Okay.
Yesterday you went full Michael Douglas falling down.
Yesterday the girl opens the door and I said, "What part of plain didn't we get?" Okay, and so I'm sure I got to spit on a hamburger after that, but it's like.
It's not plain anymore. It's oh my God.
Giant woman wiping her coochie on it or something.
Oh my God. Oh. Yeah. No, it's funny how prednisone,
but it's just your patience.
You have it breaks your filter. It breaks I shouldn't say this. That goes away. I
have another 2 guys that send me pictures constantly. One of them watches, so you know who you are. But he's been good. The other guy hasn't been so good. And he hit me at the wrong time the other day, and I basically told him, if you were this other guy, send me one more picture, I'm going to kill both of you. And Jason thought that was funny.
It's hilarious. That's the funniest thing I've ever read on my list. Scott's threatening to murder people.
Online.
Great.
So if my account gets suspended, we'll know why.
Oh man. And this is a rough month. I hope we make it to Wonderfest. So anything else new in life? You had a incident with the storm. We've had crazy weather around here. We had a dust storm roll through. We had a tornado weather.
Another tree come down and that's why I'm kind of taking it easy today, because I think I overdid it yesterday, chainsawing stuff up. And my pool pump, the day I put it in, the storm hit that night. And with the power going in and out, I think it surged my pump and blew my motor on that. So that was $400. So sorry, Wonderfest dealers, but you better have something good if you want me to buy it this year. But
and you had a branch come down again on the
a big branch, almost like part of a tree, really. So
yeah, it was. Everybody go look up the pictures.
And I watched it. I watched it happen. That's what was cool. When these winds hit, I was watching that tree in my backyard, because I know that's a weak tree. And sure enough, I hear snap, and I see the thing drop and fall. Fell right onto my pool deck where the upright comes onto the deck. Mm-hmm. No damage at all. So thank God it missed the pool.
That's good. And then the dust storm was crazy. Everybody go look at those. It looked like the end of the world.
Yeah. That was crazy.
All right. So I don't think we have any other stuff really news and reviews wise. We have one bit of news, and I want to make sure we get this in here right away. Kitcon. ModelWorks presents the first annual Kitcon, Saturday, November 22nd, 2025, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Hilton North Hills, Raleigh, North Carolina. Vendors, contests, and demos. It is a one-day show, which I think is a good idea. Trying to get their toes wet in this convention. Sponsored by Hangar 18 Hobbies, Terrors from the Vault, and Needful Things. Here we have some great guys trying to do something new, bring another convention to all of us, especially for those East Coast people, where it tends to be, it feels like there's more modelers on the East Coast. Is that just my imagination, or?
I think they're more vocal. Just saying.
There you go. So yeah, general admission $5. Age and 10 under is free. They switched to this new venue at the Hilton, so that's great. And I'm thinking about going. I gotta look at the calendar and see how it goes. It's the weekend before Thanksgiving, which I know I can't take the Monday off because that's parent teacher conferences. So I don't know if I'll be able to go or not. I'll have to see, but I'm excited for them. It's really, really cool. Good luck, guys. We're going to have them on to talk about it as we get a little bit closer to the show. So awesome. Kitcon, everybody. Check it out. Links will be down below for Kitcon, and we'll be there. Maybe. All right. We thought we were done with news and reviews, but we got our first official press release, and I think it scared me. I thought we were getting a cease and desist or something, but it was actually a press release from Agora Models, and they're announcing a new collaboration with Universal Products and Experiences. So if you don't know who Agora Models are, they do these really highly detailed and very expensive model kits that are like a subscription service. And you could choose to buy it all at once, or every month they send you a little pack that you put together. I think if you want to head over to Scale Model Kit Review with Steven Sutton, I think he has some reviews over there of some of their stuff. But they're announcing this with Universal, and their first one is the Orca from Jaws to celebrate the 50th anniversary. But I'm going to read their press release here first, and then Scott's going to give us some more information on the Orca. The 19th of May, that's when we're recording this, Agora Models, a rapidly expanding global enterprise specializing in museum quality, large-scale model kits, today announces a significant partnership with Universal Products and Experiences. This collaboration will bring iconic vehicles from the NBC Universal's renowned film and television properties to the global scale modeling community. Founded in 2019 by James Franks and Liam White, Agora Models has established itself as a leader in big-scale modeling sector, offering meticulously crafted replicas of cars, ships, and aircraft through a flexible monthly subscription model. They also have an Alien, a Terminator, and an Optimus Prime on there as well. The inaugural release under this new agreement will be a 1/16 scale model of the Orca. And I'm going to let Scott give us the more details on that, but this is pretty cool. I'll put the links down below if you want to head over to their site and check it out. Scott, let us know about that work.
All right. To celebrate the 50th anniversary of the movie Jaws, which now makes me feel very old.
It's exactly the year I was born. Look at that.
Okay. To celebrate the 50th anniversary of one of Hollywood's greatest movies of all time, we are creating a 1/16 scale model kit of Quint's iconic fishing boat, the Orca. Working closely with official experts and extensive research of movie archives, we have been able to develop the most accurate scale model kit of the Orca ever made. Take that, Neil DeConte.
Yeah. Neil DeConte.
The model will be produced using high-quality materials and will feature working cabin and navigation lights, sound effects, and music to transport you back to the most memorable, sometimes haunting, and uniquely mesmerizing of fishing trips with Quint, Brody, and Hooper. Our Orca model comes in over 700 pre-painted parts and will measure 31 inches, which is 80 centimeters in length. Pre-orders will be open in June of 2025. Join their newsletter mailing list to keep up to date. Amity Island welcomes you, summer of 75.
So wait, did Jaws come out 74 or 75?
75, according to this.
Okay, so it's 50 coming up. All right. So yeah, I'll be 51 this year. That's so it's a year. I'm a year older than John. That is very cool. I'm kind of excited. What else is a NBC Universal property?
You know, that's interesting. I did go to their site, and they have some military things, some vehicles. One of the things I really like that I saw on their site are some 007 cars from the James Bond series. The Aston Martin DB5 from Goldfinger, and also the one from No Time to Die, they're very similar.
I was reading on one of those, the spokes you have to put in the wheels. You can buy them already put together, or you put each individual spoke into the tires, into the wheels. That's crazy.
Yeah, and again, I just look at it and go, it'd be fun. So they have like the U.S. Constitution, which again, there's the Terminator. I just saw that. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff here. This is not for the faint of heart, money-wise. Okay. No. However, man, I would love this Aston Martin. I gotta tell you, and yeah.
And that subscription model, if you don't pay attention, you don't really realize how much you're spending until
No, it's like I said, it's not for the faint of heart. I'm not criticizing them. It is what it is.
It's certain niche audience,
and
for sure.
It would be a blast to sit and build it. I mean, understand a 1/8 scale Aston Martin DB5 that's a good scale. So now when you're done with it, you have to find a place to put it.
Yeah, and that's what they said. There are museums. That's good museum scale, like display pieces.
Right.
Wow.
So, I look at things. Oh, it's got a remote control. Like the Aston Martin's got a remote control for things.
What else is Universal though? Like that this partnership could spawn. We can think of
like NBC Universal. I would say, just off the top of my head, you'd have things like the A-Team van. Maybe you'd have things like
that's NBC. Yeah.
Kit from Knight Rider.
There you go.
So I'm sure there's.
What about our Universal monsters? Are there any vehicles? What about Dracula's carriage?
Who knows? Maybe
or the gypsy carts from the Wolfman. That would be kind of.
I don't know if you can say gypsy anymore.
Why? That's I'm a gypsy.
So anyway,
I can say it because I am one.
You're a lot of things. But anyway, they do have some beautiful stuff, and it's not necessarily in the figure genre that we're used to.
But they do have
But-
figures. They have that
But they do have
Terminator, and they
figures,
have an
and-
alien that's they have a 4-foot tall alien that's pre-painted, and you could repaint it to make it look better. But that Optimus Prime is beautiful. But yeah, well, you know what? They offered to maybe come on and be guests, so maybe as we get closer into the summer and things get a little less crazy around here, we will have them on. That's pretty cool. Thanks for thinking of us. That's awesome.
Oh, the Terminator's half scale. Yeah. Oof,
Half scale
that's still-
Terminator skull. T800 endoskeleton. Man,
Yeah, that's still good size.
imagine all
piece.
those pieces. That, like, oh man. Just in at the last minute, we got these from Monstrous Masterpieces, who has not done anything in a while. They've been kind of absent. So here we have Adam. He has sculpted a Cyclops. These are all Greek mythology based. And let's just get this in real quick. The Horned Cyclops. He is known as Polyphemus, uncivilized and powerful, a giant son of Poseidon, brooding and one-eyed. Beware the Cyclops. So all of these are roughly about the same size that we're going to show here. And they're all they're small, relatively like great little painter pieces, I would say. And
Now,
nice
are these
price.
magnets?
Yeah,
Are
they
these
can be magnets, it looks like.
Okay.
Kit contains one magnet, unpainted bust, and an eye hook. So maybe if you wanted to hang it up or use it as a magnet, I think you could probably turn it into an ornament as well. So it's kind of up to you. Do some modeling. So we have a Cyclops, and they are $30 a piece, $29.99 plus shipping. Next up, we have the Minotaur, Series 1 of the mythological monsters. These are all part of the Series 1. He is known as Astron, part man, part bull, son to the Queen of Crete, Pasiphae. Pasiphae? Do you know your Greek?
All Greek to
Resided
me.
in the twisting maze of the labyrinth. First of all, Minotaur is my favorite mythological beast. So I
was
really,
going to say,
really
this
like
is probably right up your alley.
it is right up my alley. I love a good Minotaur. And then the final one is a Medusa. And again,
Right.
not based on a movie. These are based on Greek mythology, so open to interpretation. Her name was Anatha. She and her two sisters were cursed by the goddess Athena. Her name was Anatha. This is the worst thing for me to read while I'm sick. Her name was Anatha. She and her two sisters were
Her name was Anatha.
I know. Stop it. Her name was I edited up everything up until our thing last night. I haven't done yet. I sound terrible in everything. All right.
All right.
Her name was Anatha, and she and her two sisters were cursed by the goddess Athena and turned into gorgons, now forever known as Medusa. Also $29.99 plus shipping. 4 inches high, 3 inches wide, 2 inches deep. Some great little pieces. Come with a magnet, eye hook, all of them. You could do some really cool stuff with these. So Monstrous Masterpieces, we are glad you're back. Glad to see you around. And thank you so much for sending this to me, because I probably would have missed it in all the chaos this week. So thanks for sending it. And anyone else who has stuff to send in, please send things in. We don't see everything. So thank you, Monstrous Masterpieces, for sending this stuff in. And check them out. Links will be down below. All right, Scott, you got something to talk about here.
Well, as everyone knows, I've been sick for about 3 weeks.
Dude,
So,
it's been
and now you're sick. And so things I'm bringing to Wonderfest to sell are few and far between. Okay. So I will have a very limited number. I wanted to have more, but I will have a very limited number of these clawing ornaments. But after the show, you will be able to order them from me. And I will also have a very limited number of a new Mad Labs release of an old Mad Labs release. And this is one of the rarer Tiny Terrors. And it's Bad Santa. It's just Bad Santa. I look at it and go, that's Bad Santa. The base is not included. This paint up was done by Paul Gill for me. And it will be on display at the table and for sale for $1 million. No, I'm just kidding. But build up will be there. But I want everyone to know the base is not included. Paul did that on his own, did a great job painting this up. This is one of Mike's wife's, Danya's, favorite pieces he did. And so it's one of the rarer Tiny Terrors out there. So I'm going to have those. I'm going to have
It's a cool
couple
piece. I'm glad you
Godzilla,
guys are doing this one. I am very glad about this.
and I don't have a price yet, but you know, it's not going to be crazy. And the other thing I will hint at, because I'm not sure, but everyone that's been bugging me for a long time might be time to stop. That's all I can say. And Jason has seen it. So there's something big coming.
Big. Keyword. Keyword. Big. Big. So, and I'll do this. Impressed. Thoroughly impressed with that. So, all right. So we will have some emails at the end. I think there's one email. But the rest of this show is going to be some short form interviews with some Wonderfest dealers and some other stuff. So we're going to jump right into that. And it's just going to be bam, bam, bam. And we'll see you at the end of the show.
We are here with some more Wonderfest news and just some overall information. And as we know, we lost our friend this year, Robert Troch, tragically. And we have his widow here, Grace, his good friend Matt, and Matt from Kaiju Modelers.
Yep, Kaiju Modeler and Fade to
I
Black.
got it right without any notes. So a couple things are going on, and I'll start first real quick. So on Saturday night, when we generally take the group picture, we are going to spread the word, and we're going to have those that want to stay, wish to stay. We're going to do a special toast to Robert. We have 100 of these shot glasses. Okay, no, we have 75 because, otherwise people are going to steal them from us. But anyway, they're going to be yours to keep. Anyone that wants to toast Robert, we're going to have a group toast to Robert at Wonderfest, which was one of his favorite events. And there we go. So initially I contacted Grace about, we wanted to make sure that we wanted to do an award that best exemplified like what Robert would do with his stuff. And so her and Matt got a hold of me, and they had already been in contact with Matt from Kaiju, and they had already had the similar or same idea, right? And kind of a wow award. So whichever one of you guys want to take over from here, and we're going to talk about the special Wonderfest award and what's going on with that.
Sure, Eric, do you want to maybe explain the thought process around the naming and all the details of it? Then I can show them the awards, and we can talk through what categories and what they're going to be offered for, if you don't mind. Does that sound good, Eric?
Oh, it sounds great. Also known as the other Matt.
The other Matt? Okay.
No, you meant you said I was Matt. So
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I'll take other Matt. It's not a bad name. It's still a full name. Anyways, on to the subject at hand. As many of you may have seen me walking around with Robert the past 8 years at Wonderfest, in every place, aspect, nook and cranny at Wonderfest. He brought me there, not just to compete the portions of the diorama miracle he was making, and I had the good, amazing partnership. Calling it partnership because that's what he called it. I always told him, "No, this is your thing." He says, "No, you're helping me out. Don't worry about it." I said, "Okay." He brought me into the fold not just to make these things, but to be part of the community, and brought me everywhere. So I'm coming this year sort of like the first time without him, and it's going to be a very interesting time. I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of people sharing stories about Robert and all of that. And one of the things we wanted to do was right in the outset of, thinking about how to think about Robert with this community was, we met with Grace, and Grace met with us and talked about this idea of maybe having some sort of foundation that would exemplify everything that Robert loved about modeling, especially the innovation, the creativity, the cool people. When people came together, when people did things differently, but all came together to look at it, gleaned ideas from each other, pushed the hobby forward in so many ways. And so we ended up like, wow, this is a great idea. And this is what Robert loved to do. He loved to go on to the awards floor every year and go pretty much all throughout the whole thing. And every once in a while, he would stop and he would look at something and go, whoa, wow, that's amazing. And that sort of spirit of what he loved to see catch him off guard and show him something new in a thing that, people don't traditionally think of as like, you paint something a particular way to look like a certain thing, or you build it a certain way to look a thing, and some people do extraordinary jobs in that. Some people take a different take on it, a different way to paint it, a different way to build it, add things that no one thought about, enhance the kits that they get. And we wanted to get into that spirit with some awards that we call the Wow Awards, because that's what he liked to do. He liked to be wowed. And this was something that you brought to us, but we also at a table with Matt, his colleague Ed, Chris Olio, and Grace, while we were upstate looking at the Diorama Miracles and looking at his collection and trying to figure out what to do, we're wanted to do these awards. Ed and Matt already had an award program in place and generously offered to rebrand it and capture this spirit and make it part of the awards. And I'm going to now pass on the baton to Matt, because you guys did such an extraordinary job taking this idea on the table and just running with it.
So I know that many of you already know Robert and are friends with Robert as much as we are, and we know that Robert was very enthusiastic and passionate about our hobby, and always wanted to add something more to it and be there at the shows, and always brought a high level of enthusiasm to it. Each year, we look forward to going to the shows, not just to see the kits, but to meet these people and run into these people that recharge your batteries. And Robert was someone who did that. And I look forward so much to seeing him, whether it was G-Fest or Wonderfest every year. He brought us back up. Maybe you're a solo hobbyist where you're working in your basement, or you're working, alone for most of the year and through the winter and that. But you come to the show and you see someone like Robert, and you realize that there are thousands of people out there that are doing the same thing and are maybe just as passionate, if not more, than you. So we want to make sure that we carry that on because it's important to have that community and not feel like you're alone doing this. We might be seen as weird or quirky or whatever. I don't care one bit. And whether your subject matter is, kaiju or sci-fi or horror, all welcome. And that's another big thing that Robert was enthusiastic about, all the subject matter. There was nothing that was off the table. He was passionate about all of it. He was enthusiastic about every movie, whether it's older or newer. Wanted something to do with it, probably purchased a kit about it, and built these massive dioramas that just blew us away every year. I'm satisfied with just getting a single kit done. Robert would put 10 kits on a diorama, and that was amazing. The amount of effort and willingness to go that extra mile on that. So we want to continue that on and share with the community. So we put together a number of awards. We started off with one, and I'll show it to you right now. We switch over. Originally, we had the Killer Kaiju Modeler, or Killer Kaiju Model Award, which was just for what we thought was the top kaiju at Wonderfest in the contest each year. And a group of us that were modelers would come in and try and decide which one we thought was the best for the year. So we've turned that now into the WOW Award for Kaiju Innovation. And you can see it says Celebrating Robert Troch, and sponsored by Kaiju Kastle. So that'll be one award, which is category specific for the Kaiju. But then we'll have three more that are WOW Awards as well. And I'll try and lean this so you can see the inscription on it. And this is for modeling innovation as well. And these could be for any subject matter that the team decides is impressive. So there's no restriction. These could be awarded to whether it's horror, whether it's diorama, whether it's sci-fi. We are just looking for that kit on the tables that makes us say, wow. And those will be picked by a group of individuals or Robert's friends that are at the show. And each year, we're going to repeat this going forward as long as we possibly can, as long as we're still able to do it. So those 4 will be for Wonderfest, and then we'll also have one for G-Fest for the modeling contest as well, which will be similar to the other Kaiju one, because that's mostly monster related. But those awards will be there and presented. So please look out for them, and we'll select them during the judging along with the other stuff. But yeah, just happy to support and bring something together for Robert that we can all kind of remind ourselves of what a good person he was, and his passion about the hobby and supporting the hobby in any way he could. He did a number of volunteers. He volunteered with us at modeling sessions for years at G-Fest. He did make and take with the children along with us each year. We had a blast. So always a good time, tons and tons of memories, and hopefully to continue that on and to help people remember Robert. And, all of us that are at the shows got to stick together, kind of remind yourselves of, how fun it is and you're passionate about the hobby and the people around you, and make sure you stay in that community talking to each other. But we're looking forward to seeing everyone at Wonderfest and talking about, old stories about adventures with Robert, building with Robert, projects that we worked on or that he was working on with you or talked about with you, worked on sculpts, subject matter, all that kinds of good stuff. So hopefully meet up with you, stop into the tables. I think Eric, are you going to be there with us at the show? We'll have tables set up to talk with folks about Robert. And obviously we had the Kaiju Modeler table and the Fade to Black table. You can stop in and talk to us. We'll also have some of Robert's collection there. So if there's an interest in getting a piece of Robert's collection, you'll have the opportunity there. And I think that's a little bit about everything. Grace, you want to say a few things?
I think I'm going to jump in at this point. It's a great, baton, handing off the baton. And my first thought is that in going through a lot of the writings and books and that I've gone through Robert's writings, one of his final entries was that he was looking forward to being with the modelers this year. And he looked forward to going to Wonderfest every year. And it would be one of the few times where I never hear from Robert at all, because he would say, I lost track of time, and now I understand why. But just going back to his entry, he was like, get to spend a lot more time with the modelers, and he wrote down like what are his top 10 passions, and the top one literally was the modelers at Wonderfest. And when I have time, I'm going to pull that and take a snapshot. And with all of you, the reason why Kaiju Kastle, the foundation, was created was to carry on the spirit and what is Robert's legacy. He loved mentoring. He loved community. He loved thinking out of, I said this to Eric, and Eric goes, you have to write that in and put it on the website. And I said, Robert thinks not just out of the box, but out of the kit. So he may have had kits, but then he would figure out a way to maneuver it, break some parts of the kit to create something different and something innovative. And each of you and everyone who's there at Wonderfest, you embody and carry a piece of that. And the foundation, all the kits that are coming, that are being sold, that are part of Robert's collections, is going toward this foundation. And in turn, we would like to be able to be a resource for creators and hobbyists so that they have an opportunity to choose perhaps that if there is a project and they need some funding, they can come to us for that because we want to encourage. We want not just this generation, but every generation to be inspired, to use their imagination, use their creativity. It also builds a community of people who are like-minded, who are kind, who have a generous spirit, and that is what the awards, and that is what Robert loved most about Wonderfest, the camaraderie, the friendships. He can talk on, Eric would say, he can talk on for hours. He would be saying, I'll see you in 5 minutes. And then an hour later, he still isn't anywhere there. And so that is what the KaijuCastle.org, that is the foundation that is in honor of Robert. And thanks to Matt and Scott and Jason and Eric and all of the wonderful community that truly embraced me, embraced Robert's daughter, Georgia, my stepdaughter. We want to carry that love, that support, and have everyone feel what you have all made me feel. And thank you for allowing us this time to be on your show.
Oh, no problem. And if I could just have you elaborate a little bit, because you had talked to me obviously prior. Just give us a real quick synopsis of the Kaiju Castle, what it is, what your hope is for it, when it's going to go live, maybe that type of thing.
We hope that after that if there's a way to edit, we are hoping that we can put the website live after this show. We
after this
taping.
Okay.
So to roll for non-B-roll, we hope you join us on kaijucastle.org. I think it's on the screen now. And you can look now to see a little bit about our programming we're going to be doing. And there's a donate button. We're very excited to be rolling this out right before the show.
Okay. And then maybe after the show, we'll have you guys on again to talk about it some more. Just to, donate some time just to that specifically. And again, I want everyone that's going to Wonderfest to join us for our toast to Robert. And you might even get me to take a drink. You never know. So
this is the voice of Jason from in the back. Scott, get that thing right up in the camera. I want to see the picture. I want everyone to see the picture.
Yeah.
You saw it already.
There, really close. Nice. Okay.
And then
And what time, Scott? Is everyone meeting up on?
You know what?
Is it Saturday evening?
I think
At
it's
what
usually
time?
around midnight. Jason, yes. Is it generally around midnight?
Yeah,
I'll have a better
I'm wondering.
idea.
I'm hoping they might do it a little earlier than that.
Yeah.
I'll
have a better idea at the show. So at the show, what I want to do is get the information out there right now that it's happening. And at the show, word of mouth will go around enough that we'll get people there.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
My advice is on Saturday night, keep your ear to the ground. Make sure people are actually going to the photo shoot, not just hanging out in a spot, because that can happen at Wonderfest where you just go in a back area and hang out all night.
Yep.
If you want to be part of the toast, make sure you're with the right group that eventually gets you out into the back door and where they take it outside.
And if you don't know, ask, because somebody will know.
Mm-hmm.
And just so you know that, once the group shot is, I don't know if that appears on the Wonderfest site, but we would also, of course, try to link it so that people can see the photo, because the beauty of this whole group getting together, holding a shot glass, and I think that I think Robert will feel that, and hopefully again at a different time. I know not necessarily for this show, but Jason, just so you know, when we've had exchanges with Scott, I would love to hear what each of your experience was. It may not be again for this show, but I thought it would be great that as we can just flesh out any part. It's like, Scott, I think you and Jason, at least as the host of the shows, that you should explain your own personal, how you first met Robert, what your impressions were, and why you also had this major brain think, and then we all just synergized. And it is because of all of the people who are on, that I'm seeing here right now. All of you came up with similar ideas. There had to be a reason, and it had to be something that carried as a thread line for who Robert is. And it would be nice if you could help expand on that, because I think as the host, the two of you need to also bring something in about why you felt compelled to do what you did.
Absolutely. We will absolutely do that.
Absolutely. And
Thank
maybe even we can get, I know there's a few people that I spoke to you guys about that aren't going to be able to make the show that wants shot glasses. And you said, yeah, hold a few back so they can get them. But I think a few of them wouldn't mind coming on and sharing a story or two as well. So, I think we can make that happen for sure. We'll do the Kaiju Kastle show and include that at that point.
We could tell, yeah, and we could say how well we did, and we have no expectations, but we would love them to be able to say, hey, these were the winners. These are the pictures. These are all of this, and that that everything that all of you are doing each year, what you're doing right now, Jason and Scott, you're helping us promote something that we want to continue on in perpetuity. And that truly is about building a community. And how does that community continue to lift everyone to what will be the next diorama of miracles? How do we expand on Robert's vision, and how does this community help make that diorama of miracles be what it can be through the community efforts?
I wonder if we could do a diorama across America like they did with the hands across America.
It's a pretty big diorama.
That would be a pretty big diorama, but
it's about 6 feet by 6 feet. People here have seen it.
It's got a big footprint.
It has a very big footprint, and
I've seen pictures, and I was like, geez. So,
and if each of the community, when they have a kit and they win a kit or they buy a kit and they want to add that to be part of the diorama of miracles, see, we think that's the beauty of it being a living, breathing diorama. And that's the hope that we just want, is to continue that.
well, okay.
We're also one more thing we're doing for Robert at Wonderfest, and I want to thank Matt Loris and Chris and all the Wonderfest folks who've been coordinating with us and Matt and Ed and all of you, and people who pointed me the way to talk to the right people. So many names. You know who you are, you guys. So much thanks for this, for making it happen. One more thing we were able to do is we were able to grab one of his dioramas that was not too tricky to transport, because if you know anything about his stuff, they're very elaborate and they come in multiple boxes, some of which I designed. But we found the piece that made the most sense. It's kind of actually one big piece, and it's pretty traditional. You'd be surprised. You'd be like, wait, Robert did this one? Because it's not really kit bashed or anything like that. But it's never actually come to Wonderfest before. It was ready. It came to Jersey Fest, and then COVID happened, and it came on the photos of the award year that year. So we are bringing Tree Sandwich, the famous moment from King Kong versus Godzilla, and that will be. We're working with Wonderfest. Most likely, it's going to be in the awards room by where the pro tables are. We're going to put a little extra zing around that, remembering Robert, maybe a picture or something like that. This lovely mug I really love so much.
And then at that point, maybe we could stick a flyer there about the toast, just so people are aware. And
oh, that's a good idea.
So when they see that,
yeah, we can also have them on the tables. If you just want to print off a batch of flyers, we can have at all our tables. So
yeah,
okay.
And we're hoping to get business cards to be able to hand out so that we are flooding the zone.
Mm-hmm.
We're Godzilla flooding the zone.
And I will be there a lot of time on the show floor, but I'm also going to be going around talking to people, getting some conversations started. I'm going to try to go to some of the Saturday classes. I want to see the kids. I really love doing that with Robert, the make and takes. So I will see you all there.
And you don't have to announce that you're, Scott, you're a judge. You're one of the judges. I think Eric, Matt,
we're gonna get bribed.
well, but we need to have.
I have a price. You know what? I'm not ashamed to say I can be bought. Okay, I'm not saying what the price is, but I'm not ashamed to say there is a price.
Oh no, it's not gonna go down like that.
In the true spirit of Chicago, yes.
In the true spirit of Chicago politics, I can be bought. So
I can't be, so I'll be there to stop.
Yeah, it'll be there to rein me in. So
they may put me in a closet. It could be like one of those movies. So it could be comedy antics here, kids.
That's right. Right.
Thank you.
Bring out the gimp. Yeah. So
there's a kid you want to see.
Thank you to everyone. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Scott. Let us know if there's any other questions that you have, after we get off and leave the meeting. But if there's something else that you needed to have us provide, we're more than happy to do that. But we are hoping we will absolutely send to you when the site goes live. We are going to share that and appreciate that you are also going to include that.
Grace, I know I speak for all of our listeners when I say our condolences on this whole thing. And Eric as well, I know you were his good friend. It's still just such a shock to all of us that we don't, it's just not real still to us. And, so we're there with you for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Love you guys.
Here we are with hobby veteran, longtime hobby veteran,
yes,
Anthony Taylor, who has agreed to join us for the first time, actually. And we're going to talk about some stuff he's going to have at Wonderfest. So,
hobby
Anthony,
veteran,
thanks for coming on.
Thank you for coming on.
Oh, yeah. No, guys, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to the show. Looking forward to seeing you.
Gremlins in the Garage alumni.
I was going to say, yeah, this is my 30th Wonderfest.
Me too.
Well, okay, there you go. It would be my 31st, except I missed 2008 when they were kicked out of the hotel for the, for the Kentucky, for the whatever it is, the fairground on the street, and they had to move to middle of July, and I was already booked for San Diego Comic-Con that year, so I couldn't make it. But other than that, I've been going since 1995, and I was a Gremlins in the Garage guy. I was
so then that would be 31 for you, Jason, right?
Because... No, 95 was my first year, but he's only
Well, he missed one. He said though he missed one, and I missed one.
Well, I've been going since 95. and haven't missed a year. So I
There
don't
you
know.
go. Then 31, I think.
Oh
aren't you?
shit! Oh no!
Yeah.
Hey, if it's math,
Amazing.
he's not going to do it. Okay.
We are seriously chronic people about
Yes.
this.
Me and you, and then okay, I think I told this story in a minute, like somewhere on the show that people probably don't know. You and I used to be on the same smoke schedule.
That's right.
So when we would, every time we would go out for a smoke break, it would always be us like crossing paths
That's right.
and standing
That's
next to each other.
Yeah, we were always hanging out at the.
For years, that was the case until I quit. You quit too, or
2006.
That's around when I quit too, 2007. So all right, excellent.
So good for you.
Good for you too.
Yeah, man. We were both on the same track, obviously, the whole time.
Yeah, and the same amount. But now we don't see each other as much at the show because you're in that other room, and we're not smoking together anymore. So
that's true. Yeah, I'm not getting up every 30 minutes or so and going outside. So
we're here to talk about some books. So let's do that.
That's right. Excellent.
What do you got coming out, sir? What's out already?
Well, it's out. Yeah.
What's out already are the Aurora Plastic Models catalogs books that I did, Volume 1 and 2. Volume 1 being the catalogs from 1960 to 1969, and the Volume 2 being the catalogs from 1970 to 1977. And there's also in that second volume, there's an interview that I did with Dave Cockrum actually in 1995 at Wonderfest.
I remember seeing him there.
Talked about all the stuff he did for Aurora and everything, and there's some great photographs. There's a great photograph of him in there, and then a bunch of his artwork that he had worked on for Aurora. And then I wrote some introductions for those that kind of tell the story of the company from the beginning up through the end of it, and handled it a little bit about what came after. But I didn't really want to talk about all the other stuff that's been talked about a million times before. And I think people really just want those catalogs, man. They want to go through that and get that sense of nostalgia of whether if they ever had a catalog or not. So much of our hobby is based on what Aurora did and everything that came after it, all the resin kits, the garage kits, the vinyl kits, the reissue polar lights, all of that stuff came from that one company. So over the years, I had been picking up catalogs here and there, and they're kind of expensive. They were not easy to find in great shape anyway. And I felt like, it would be great if somebody eventually would do that. And then a friend of mine was like, I think we should look and see if we've got a complete collection between us. And we did. And I was like, well, let's give it a try and see if anybody's even interested. And it's been doing pretty well. They came out last week or so of March, and been going fairly strong. So I'm very happy with that. I'm going to have them at the show. They are in paperback and also in hardcover, and I know that I'm going to have a reasonable quantity of the paperbacks, and I am crossing my fingers because of the way Amazon Kindle, I'm doing print on demand, and Amazon Kindle Direct ships things that are hard to track until they are literally almost at your door. And I've got
everybody anymore. It's everybody anymore.
I've got a window of delivery that is good through Sunday at Wonderfest. So I'm hoping that, the 8 days ahead of that in the window is when they'll arrive, but we'll see.
Yeah. Well, cool.
I've only ever owned one Aurora catalog.
Mm-hmm. What year was
it? Was 1970. I think that was the green cover and 1970 on the bottom. And so I own that. There's some great artwork in these things. I don't, obviously the James Bama artwork is in there, and the who's the other guy that did like the Superman and forgot his name now. But anyway, there's a lot of
Mort Kunstler again.
Mort. There you go. Yes. Yeah. But those guys, I mean, and I remember seeing the interview with Bama, and it was like just a job to him. It wasn't like he was making fine art. It was just a job. And I imagine some of those paintings are worth more than anything else he ever did after that.
just because, I think really the the most sought after things that he did were those Doc Savage covers
Mhm.
for backs. But surely at least as many people are interested in some of those Aurora pieces that he did as well.
Yeah, I would think
Just
so.
because, you know, not everybody was into Doc Savage, but I don't know anybody at the time that those were coming out that was of that certain age that, you know, they were aimed at, wasn't into Frankenstein and Dracula and the Wolfman and all of those guys. So
Right.
as far as you know, young boys go and stuff. And
I think he did a King Kong paperback as well, cover.
he did, yeah, you're right.
And
right.
oh, that was beautiful. I would love to get a beautiful print of that.
Frankenstein cover too, yeah.
Yeah.
He was very prolific guy and very talented.
What was the
So-
hardest part in tracking down all the catalogs? Like, what was your easiest one you found? What was the hardest one that you personally had to find?
The easiest one I ever found was I was living in Knoxville in the mid '80s and working at a comic book store, and a guy walked in with a couple of witch kits, long
Yeah.
box witch kits, and he had two 1967 catalogs, and he was like, "Yeah, I'd take 15 or 20 bucks a piece on these kits, and like $5 for the catalog." I was like, he's like, "I think I want to keep one of the catalogs." So I was like, "Okay, no problem." So that was probably the easiest one. Hardest one was the next year, I think, 1968. I had a guy that I had been dealing with for a long time, living in Atlanta, who was also another Atlanta collector, who had it, and I tried to give him cash for it, and he wouldn't take cash for it. He gave me a price, and I said, "Okay, I'll meet you and give you cash." And he was like, "Well, I don't know." And this, that, and the other, and eventually I had to. If you ever used to watch MASH when that was a thing, there were a couple of episodes that Alan Alda directed that were like these, like, okay, well, I would like to get this, so in order to get this, I've got to give that to somebody else, who can then give something else to someone
Yeah,
else,
yeah.
gives me the thing that I want to get. And I had to do that with one of this guy's friends. I had to like give that guy something that I had that he wanted, and then he was able to facilitate me getting that catalog from me. So that was a bit of a pain.
That's awesome.
But
Scott,
totally.
what were you going to ask?
I know. I was just gonna say it's a long time coming. I mean, it's a great idea, and
And it's not, I wouldn't take any credit at all for the idea. I've had the idea for something like 40 years. It's why didn't somebody do a damn look at these things,
I sold my original Aurora stuff. I have a few now, but I went reissue when I went back because it was just so much
Oh, I know. Yeah,
more
yeah.
affordable.
Listen, man, I was a toy and model dealer for many years, and I dealt in a lot of Aurora stuff. And I had in and out a lot of very expensive ones and stuff. And let me tell you, when I saw that FAO Schwartz catalog in '95 or '96, whatever it was, with the Addams Family house in it, I was like, I'm selling everything. This is the wave of the future because I don't want to get stuck with what I have in some of these expensive kits. And thank goodness I did, because that really, between eBay coming around and kind of all of us figuring out, well, these things are not quite as hard to find as we thought they were. Now that there's a global clearinghouse, and Tom Lowe doing all the repops for it, the prices went way down. Now they've kind of normalized since then. They've gone back up to reasonable, standards for some of them. But I would have lost a lot of money.
Over those years, how many times did you own an original Godzilla's Go-Kart or a King Kong's Thronester? Did you ever have either of those?
I had a built up of the Thronester, but I don't think I ever had box of either of them.
So I just asked because they were so hard to find. I remember I got a Thronester. I had a Thronester boxed, and I had a Go-Kart built. And I cast them in resin back in the day, and it was piece for piece, labor of love. And trust me, had I known Polar Lights was going to come out, never would I have done it. Okay, never would I have done it.
Yeah,
but
it's great that I mean, look, I had various opinions on what was going on with that company for a long time over the years. And like at the first, I was like, "Oh my God, this is going to put me out of business." And then I was like, "Hey, I'm a writer for Toy Shop magazine. I need to go interview them and talk about what they're actually doing." But the truth is, it really injected a shot in the arm for the hobby for the long term of it. I don't think we'd be having a Wonderfest if there hadn't been a Polar Lights. We wouldn't be going to our 30th of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Good point.
for sure. What is it about catalogs that, like, I just saw a picture yesterday of a Sears catalog that I absolutely remember thumbing through the toy, like when I was a kid, same thing. And there's just, and even I haven't showed this on the show yet, but I had gotten something in the mail, a miniature, and I used to get the photocopied Rel Partha catalog for miniatures for Dungeons and Dragons, like when I was in 4th and 5th grade, and just thumb through that catalog over and over again. And I remember circling things for Christmas of the things I wanted and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, there's nothing, the internet has ruined that. Like, it's like everyone just goes, oh, I will just go to the store. But no one is ever going to know the feeling of having to look through a book. You go past the sock pages or the hardware and you get to your toys. And here you have the Aurora catalogs. It's the same thing of just everything that's out there. And it just makes, it's like a dream thing you're holding in your hand. Is that kind of the same feeling for everyone that kind of comes through?
I really think it is. And it's the reason that we don't have it as much with the internet as we did with these catalogs and books as kids is because these things that you're talking about are durable sense memories. Okay. Yeah. The smell of those Sears catalog, that ink, that right. Offset printing ink, the feel of the paper being like, how is it so strong and so light and thin? Yeah. And the kind of, just the whole printing process back then, everything was kind of like glossed over and almost looked like a painting, you know, in those catalogs. And those things linger. Those things, smell is quite possibly our most powerful sense. Yeah. When it comes to being associated with memory. It certainly is for me.
For me, one of my other favorite childhood smells, and this might be more your guys' thing.
Oh boy.
Favorite the Ditto from the copies,
machines, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, that smells amazing.
But wasn't that like a pneumonia smell almost?
I don't know what it was, but I loved it. When that blue would still come out kind of wet.
Vinegar animal, I think.
Yeah. It was because we still had a big machine at work for years that they would do blueprints on.
Right.
And so it would come out like that. And that smelled bad. But I remember, I'm going to call it the Aurora smell.
Yeah, well, that was the aroma, right? The AUROMA, aroma, as we used to call it on Polar Lights bulletin board. It takes you back to a specific time and place that may have forgotten otherwise. But all those things associated with that smell or that feel or that sound of rustling pages or that, whatever it is, it lasts for a very long time and it becomes very powerful. It's just when you trip over it, you go, oh, I didn't even know that was still in me.
Huh. Yeah, that's totally true.
That's something. There was, I worked with a friend of mine who helped me design the books, and some of the scans that I originally did, I came out and I color corrected the pages so that the page itself was white. And some of them were a little bit more kind of like yellowed or aged and stuff like that. And he's like, no, dude, this is the way it should be, is the way it looks like when you're holding an actual catalog. I was like, that makes perfect sense because this is all about nostalgia anyway.
Yeah.
So the fidelity to the original color is not nearly as important as the fidelity to what triggers the memory of flipping through those catalogs or building those models or sitting and looking at the box art for hours on hours when you were 11 or whatever, so, or blowing up that model.
Well, that's awesome. I'm glad you made these. What the next thing you got here, let's talk about that.
Thanks. Yes, the next thing I've got, well, the next book that I have coming out is called The Art of George Wilson, and we were talking about James Bama when we started out, and George Wilson was one of his contemporaries, just another kind of like paint-stained wretch running around New York City with a portfolio full of paintings, and he was probably the most prolific cover painter for Gold Key comic books and Dell comic books before they split off Gold Key from them. And he was a very interesting guy that nobody knew anything about. I don't think hardly anybody even knew that he was the guy behind these almost, I would say thousands of paintings. There's no real record of exactly how many, but until about 2006 or 7, I mean, certainly there were people on the planet who knew, but it was not widespread. And he was a fairly, kept to himself kind of a guy. He didn't talk a big game or anything like that. He was friends with a lot of other illustrators. He was a member of the Society of Illustrators. And he just really kind of let his work talk for him. And I estimate that he probably did anywhere from 5 to 12 covers a month for Gold Key, which was Western Publishing, and they put out Whitman puzzles and all kind of other stuff too. And then on top of that, he was doing magazine covers and interiors. He was doing paperback book covers and stuff. He was very closely associated with like Flash Gordon and the Phantom. He did the paperback covers for both of them. And he was somebody that I found out about, and I looked at the stuff and I was like, this is amazing. When I was a kid, these things were enormous to me because I spent summers on Tybee Island, Georgia with my grandparents, and there was one store there that had comics, and all they had was a spinner rack full of Gold Key comics. There was no DC or Marvel. So I was like, all right, well, that's 3 months full of Donald Duck and Huey, Dewey, and Louie, and whatever else they had, Dr. Solar and Magnus Robot Fighter and some of the other great things that they did.
Let's face it, the covers were probably better than the comics back in the...
Well, in some cases they absolutely were, but the covers were like leaps and bounds better than Marvel and DC as far as just the fidelity of the artwork. Maybe not from a design sense, but from an execution sense, they were fully painted, whereas the others were just, pen and ink with mechanical color separation. So at any rate, so I thought, wouldn't it be great if somebody did a book about George Wilson? And I started looking around and I couldn't find anything out about him at all. I wound up pitching a book and did actually get a contract for it. And I was talking with some of my artist friends about the influence that he had on them and digging. And when the announcement came out for it, I had I wouldn't call it a deluge, but I had a lot of people contact me and say, oh, hey, I was thinking about doing one too. Would you like all my research? And I was like, well, yes, I would. And so I found out some stuff about him that was really, really fascinating. And then people would send me emails and say, hey, I have 100 original paintings. Would you like to come and scan them for the book? And I was like, yes, I would. I'd love to do that. And just kind of kept happening. People who knew him, other illustrators, and then just people who had found out who he was and talked to him and corresponded with him or been friends. He was a guy who went over to France the week after he was in the Army. He was in the 603rd Camouflage Engineers Brigade, which was part of the Ghost Army. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Ghost Army.
No.
But they were the guys who went over there to try and fool the Nazis into thinking that there were troops and emplacements in places where they weren't.
Gotcha.
So they had all these inflatable tanks and inflatable gun emplacements and inflatable planes and stuff like that. And they would go around with these enormous trucks with speakers on the back and play wire recordings of troop movements late at night when they were just across the river or through a forest from German troops and things. And they literally, it's estimated that they saved 20 to 30,000 Allied troops and Europeans' lives through the stuff that they did. So it's a really kind of a fascinating story. They recruited like all these artists to go over there and do this stuff for them. And these guys were in World War II. They literally wielded pins and brushes as swords. And they saw the kind of power that art can have to make things better and to save lives and to help people who are being oppressed. And he came back home. He couldn't talk about any of this stuff until 2 years before he died. It was classified, and so he just expressed it all through his work. So it's amazing work, and it's an amazing story about an amazing guy. So I'm really happy that I kind of like tripped into putting this all together and letting people know something about this person who, I mean, he inspired like Joe Jusko and Brian Stelfreeze and just tons and tons of people who are doing that kind of work today. All say this is the guy who I imprinted on when I was very young and has always remained in my psyche as an influence. And I don't know where I'd be if I hadn't seen George's work. So
that sounds like a movie right there. Like,
I think
I'll tell you,
someone
and I love
like,
Jusko. Jusko does great stuff.
I really hope. It would make a great movie. If you ever saw Monuments Men, that George Clooney did, it's a very similar story.
Yeah,
and it amazes me that nobody has done one. It would be a great thing for Spielberg and Tom Hanks to do as a miniseries.
That sounds right up there with one of the. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I know. So that book has been delayed for quite a while for reasons that I had no control over, and it is now absolutely. They have gotten the final shipment documents on it as far as clearing it through U.S. Customs, and should be available in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Cool.
I don't think I'll have any at Wonderfest, unfortunately, but I'm doing Monster Bash up in Pittsburgh at the end of June, and I hope to have some there because that's where my publisher is. So if he's got them, he can damn well bring them over to me.
Get them, Anthony. Get them.
Yeah. Because I would love to see the book itself. I mean, I've been waiting forever to see it, and there's a great preview, kind of a flip through on my website at goanthonytaylor.com that you can go look at it and see.
Okay.
But his work. I mean, he did stuff he did a lot of Star Trek covers. He did a lot Space Family Robinson. He did King Kong comic book adaptation that Gold Key did. He did hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these covers. And he was always delivered on time, and they were always fantastic looking.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of the images now while you're talking, and just like, wow.
Let's go on to the next one. The classic monsters.
This is something that I have that's very special to me, and I'm very proud of this. It's coming out and will be out in time for Halloween this year. It's a book called Classic Monsters, Modern Art, 20th Century Horror, and 21st Century Illustration. So I have shelves full of books of monster art here in my office, and they're all about Basil Gogos and James Bama and Mort Kunstler and all the guys that we've been talking about. But there is a crop of artists that have been doing work since the beginning of this century that I think are doing work as good or better as those guys. They're just not OG, and nobody has really done an aggregation of that and a survey of what's out there and what's available and who these people are and why they're doing this. So this book is the concept for this book, which is being published by Insight Editions and should be in Costco's and Barnes and Nobles everywhere this fall, is that all the art is of characters and from films or whatever that were released before or by December 31st, 1999, and the art is only anything that has been created since January 1st, 2000.
Okay.
So it's the last 25 years worth of art of classic characters.
That's a great idea.
Thank you.
That is going to look. That's cool.
And it's full of guys that you're familiar with, some just from Wonderfest and stuff, like Mark Maddox is in there, and tried to get Bill Stout, but Bill was busy. But he had
I got something from somebody up here. I don't know if you can barely see it. At King Kong next to the Fantastic Four thing.
Yeah,
And I just found that guy in Etsy, but it was such a beautiful piece that I was like,
although it's this big to me, but
yeah.
But all of these guys are I say guys, there are quite a few women too. So I don't want it to sound like it's all men.
Mm-hmm.
All of these people feel very strongly about this, strongly enough that it is at least one of the main thrusts of their career. So they are well known for doing this type of stuff, and they do it for magazine covers, book covers. They do it for illustrations for magazines or books. They do it for DVD and Blu-ray covers, and for packaging for action figures and games and toys, and this, that, and the other, model kits and things. It's kind of just a collection of kind of the best of that, and the people who were interested in the fact that they were being recognized as a community and a movement, and not just kind of out there on their own, you know. So what I did is I divided the 20th century up into 10 chapters, and of course up to the 20th century is the first chapter basically. And I talk about the evolution of media, and I talk about what's important about art, and what we should kind of like, what we need to kind of bear in mind as we observe it, and how it affects us and how we affect it, how it affects our society and how our society affects it, and talk about just the high points and low points of media that has been released, and what it has created, or what it was influenced by, and how it came about, and all with illustrations created since January 2000. And I think it's going to be a great book, and I hope everybody will take a look at it. It's very, it's going to be a hardcover, and it's not going to be but like $40, and of course Amazon will probably be $27.95. So it's going to be very affordable too, and it's got an amazing cover by Graham Humphreys is the guy who did the cover, and he's an amazing artist, a British guy. Some of the other people that are in this are Bob Eggleton, who's a 9-time Hugo Award winner. Doug Pigosh, the guy who owns Retro Go-Go and does all those amazing things with them. Gary Gamel's going to be in it. Mitch O'Connell, the greatest artist in the world, according to him, is going to be in it. And, geez, man, Bob Lizarraga and Greg Manchess, who is one of the greatest living illustrators that we have right now, in my opinion. Is going to be in it. Greg Staples, also another British guy who just does amazing work. There's Susanna Vilches, who goes by Suspiria Land, who is doing some great stuff right now. It's like 50 or 60 artists. I don't want to go down and like, you know.
Gary Gamel's been around a long time.
Gary has been around a long time, and he is, a big monster kid himself. And most of these people are, you know, they do it because they love it, and they have figured out a way to, you know, to hone their craft into something that is a tool that they can use to help support themselves doing what they love, which is honestly, isn't that what everybody wants to do, is to support yourself doing what you love?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Monsterama. What's up with Monsterama?
Monsterama is crazy, dude. Did you look at the website?
I have not. I just got home like 20 minutes before we went live.
Well, the website is monsteramacon.com. This is going to be our 12th year in Atlanta, and it's something that I started in 2014. That was that I've been thinking about for quite a while. I had worked at other conventions here in Atlanta, sci-fi cons, and there was never really a horror con here. But I always kind of wanted, it's like, you know, I go to Wonderfest, and I went to Monster Bash and some of the other model kit / toy show things that were horror related and sci-fi, classic retro sci-fi related. I was like, I would really like to have to not drive eight hours to get to one of these, you know? And the only way that was going to happen is if I put one on. So I found a partner who does all the operations stuff. And I do all of the I get the guests, I do the themes, I do the marketing, I do all the graphics for it. I do, you know, kind of put it all together. And then she takes care of all of the, you know, the filthy lucre and all the other art stuff and she's brilliant. She's so good at it. But this year is going to be a very, very special year for us because we've got two special events going on. One is called Serling-Bration 100, which is a celebration of Rod Serling's 100th year. He was born December 25th, 1924. So up until December 25th of this year is his first year in the century. And we've got so many guests that are related to him coming, including, speaking of related to him, his daughter Anne is going to be with us, which I'm very, very happy to have her. And then we've got like people who have been in Night Gallery and Twilight Zone. Mary Badham, who you guys probably remember from playing Scout in To Kill a Mockingbird. She was in the last episode of Twilight Zone film, and she's going to be with us. And Mariette Hartley, who was, I mean, everybody, if you lived through the 70s, you couldn't avoid knowing who Mariette Hartley was just from all the Polaroid commercials she did with James Gardner and stuff. But she was in Twilight Zone. She was in Star Trek. She's been in so much stuff. She did all kind of stuff for Gene Roddenberry, like Genesis 2, and amazing stuff with that. Diane Baker, who was in one of the best episodes of Night Gallery. They're tearing down Tim Riley's bar, so she's going to be there. She was also in Marnie and Silence of the Lambs and Journey to the Center of the Earth. It's like it amazes me all these people we're getting. We've got Trina Parks was also in a Night Gallery, and 2 or 3 other people coming, some authors and things like that. We're going to have a big celebration of his work in his life, and I'm very happy to be doing that. The other event that we're doing is called Jacksploitation, and it is a celebration of the films of Jack Hill. And Jack Hill did Spider Baby and Coffee and Foxy Brown, and with Pam Grier. And The Big Dollhouse and Switchblade Sisters and Sorceress, and he's did all of these great things. And he started out with Roger Corman. He did The Terror and Dementia 13, and he did all sorts of things with Corman for the first 10 years that he was working in the movies. And I think he's someone who is kind of underappreciated by everybody except Quentin Tarantino, who loves him and talks about him all the time, talks about his movies and stuff. But Jack's work really kind of took grindhouse and exploitation kind of films and brought them out of the drive-in to some degree and into suburbia in the 70s. And he made a star out of Pam Grier. She did her first 4 movies were with him. And Beverly Washburn, who was in Spider Baby, is coming to help celebrate with that. And I've got another guest that I can't really talk about that I'm just finishing up now, but it's going to be a big get for us.
Cool.
So we're very happy to be doing that. And I just anticipate our crowds are going to be bigger. We've got so much happening. We do like 6 different tracks. We run 16 millimeter films all weekend long of all of this stuff. And then we do guest, panels with our guests and talk about their stuff. We do panels based on film and television. We do panels on art, literature, and comics. We've got a track room for non-genre stuff, which is like not monster stuff. It could be any other genre, like comedy or westerns or crime or any of that stuff. So it's really a big celebration of cinema and film and television and just kind of all this nerdy stuff. And it is August 8th through 10th at the Marriott Northeast Atlanta, which is the Emory area, Emory University area, Marriott. And it's, like I said, monsteramacon.com. If you have any interest in any of the stuff that I'm talking about, you really don't want to miss it.
That's great. Well, okay, in Wonderfest, you're in Dealer Room B. Do you know what table number you are?
I am table number 36, and it will have a big table cover that says Tailorama, Inglorious Tailorama on it in the Cinerama logo style.
Awesome. Let me go just.
We'll be sure to come see you. I will.
Yeah, and also, aside from the guests that I'm working on for Monsterama, I think I'm going to have a guest at my table this weekend too. That if you're a Star Trek fan, you should come and say hi and see when they're going to be fine. I'm not going to be positive about that until this coming Friday. But if so, then it's going to be a great thing, and I think everybody will be very excited.
Very cool. I want to have you back on for a full show at some point.
Yeah, man.
Maybe when that book comes out around October, like in the fall,
Sure,
do that,
yeah.
and we'll have you on then. This was great, dude. Thank you. Like, it's great seeing you.
Thanks for having me, and it's always great seeing you guys. And I'm looking forward to seeing you next week, basically.
Yeah.
And you guys want me to leave so you can have a smoke?
No, I think we're done with that.
Don't tempt me.
But we might chew gum together.
Hey,
Yeah.
Jason's hair might grow out long again, and
Yeah, that's not going to happen. I can.
no, it's
Neither
not.
is mine.
No, not happening. Wait, do we have the same hairline? Mine goes. Yeah. Anyway, all right. We'll see you in a week. Awesome.
Absolutely. Thanks,
Take care,
guys.
sir. All right.
Anthony, thanks. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
And we are here with Mark Worthling of Pestilence Labs. Thank you, Mark,
How's
for
it going?
joining us. Real quick, how many Wonderfests is this for you, sir? Do you know? Do you remember?
It's I started going. Gosh, this has got to be maybe a dozen, so I'm nowhere near as experienced as you and Scott. I mean,
I think this is 30 for me this year.
wow, I'm probably north of 10 for sure, probably less than 15. I missed the Harryhausen one. I
Yeah.
think I started going right after that.
Well, cool. Hey, that's a long time to be going. That is a very long time. Have
Yeah,
you missed
no,
any and come back? Like, are they all not consensual? What was I gonna?
consecutive? They are consensual as well.
Would the wife say the same thing? Were
I
they
haven't-
consensual for her?
I haven't missed two. I think I might have missed one because of a commitment with one of my daughters or something.
Yeah.
But other than that, I've made it every year. And it's funny, when I first started going, I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know what this thing was all about. And I remember putting out on the Gremlins, hey, has anybody got room in there? I'm looking for a room to share. And of course, great guy, love him to death. He's one of the nicest guys in the hobby. I get Rusty Nail. It's like,
Yeah.
I got room in my room, and I'm like, Rusty Nail. Gosh, I better get a tetanus shot before I go. But so many of these people at the show are so incredibly nice.
Yes, absolutely.
That's where I met Saul Alvarez. I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's a wonderful family. The show. So
Very cool. So
Beautiful.
Pestilence Labs has a ton of stuff this year. You
Yeah,
want to
we
give
do.
everybody an idea of how much?
This is going to sound insane, but we have a lot of older stuff that we're bringing that we're gonna price it very attractively, so that hopefully we move some of this older inventory. So we do have some older stuff, but a lot of new stuff. But I'm bringing, let's see, roughly 50 individual items, subjects, and a total of 325 kits.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And interestingly enough, we talked about it before we started recording. A full quarter, 25% of those kits are 3D printed, which is interesting.
Wow.
I never would have imagined 5 years ago, 6 years ago that
Yeah.
would be the case.
Things are changing. And
Yeah.
it's things are getting very different these. All right, let's start off with your Karloff Pierce kit.
Okay, so Karloff Pierce 2 is intended to be a follow-on to the very, very popular Karloff Pierce in the barber chair, from back in the day.
Uh-huh.
And this was something that was the brainchild of Mike Calvert, and we created this new company called IAMCO, which was Irish American Model Company, which is Mike and myself, and with the purposes of releasing this and then other future releases. But so Karloff Pierce 2 is sculpted by Jeff Yeager. It's a very good size kit. It's two figures, 1/6 scale, and I'm sure we're looking at pictures.
Yep.
And it's done quite well, but it's at the end of its run here. So I'm bringing the last 7 copies to the show. And if somebody wants one that didn't get one, now's the time to get it. So
Yeah, if you are a fence sitter, this is it.
Pierce.
This is your chance. Cool. All right, next one. Mord. Mord, the
Tower of
executioner.
London. Yes, Tower of London, Mord. This again is another item that I worked with Mike Calvert on. That again commissioned with Jeff Yeager, and the piece is fantastic. It's a bust, but it's a really good size bust. So it's 175. It's basically a half figure in quarter scale. It's a huge bust, and it's a beautiful piece. We'll have 5 of them at the show, so come by and check that one out.
Get there early. Get there early. All right, Flash Gordon.
So Flash Gordon is one we did have last year, but we only had a couple and we sold out. So we'll have a couple of Flash Gordons. Another beautiful piece that I did with Mike Calvert, and it's another Jeff Yeager sculpt, of course.
It is a very the way that his face looks. It's beautiful. I like. It's a very nice.
I really like that. It's a beautiful sculpt. Yeah.
And then we have your Karloff, the grave robber. Why did my brain just break? I've said it.
Body snatcher. Yeah,
body snatcher.
It's the body snatcher. Yeah, I've always want to call it the grave robber too. But yeah, Karloff. This is a fantastic movie, and then the piece is beautiful. It's another great sculpt. Again, we're only gonna have a couple of these, so if you didn't get a body snatcher before, now's a great time to get it.
Is it retiring after the show? Is this it?
Quite honestly, we have. I think we have another half dozen or so that we can do very easily. So it's not retired after the show, but I'll only have 3 of them at the show, though.
Okay. Right. Then we have.
This was originally a Typhon Studios piece. Both of them were.
Okay.
It's the Bride's Monster and the Henry Hull bust. They're really good sized busts. They both measure 11, 12 inches tall. Excuse me, 11, 12 inches tall. And they're really beautiful. These are going to be priced to sell. We're selling these for $100 a piece, and they're huge. They're really good size.
Wow.
So definitely stop by and get one of those. It'll be a great deal to pick up at the table.
That's a good deal. All right. One of your big announcements, one of your big things.
Okay.
The glow creature.
So the glow creature. This was something that I've wanted to do for a long time. I've had other people kind of hinting that I should do it. It's basically the box art tribute that we've had it was really the first box art tribute we did with Jeff. So I'll have a couple of standard creatures at the show, but I'll have a limited number of these, 12 total, and that's it. There won't be any more. That is it. These things are incredibly expensive to make, and if we're looking at the pictures right now, you can see when these things get charged up with some light, it turns into a nightlight. I mean,
I was just gonna say that's crazy. How long do they stay glowing after you charge them?
We charged it up. I think it stayed glowing all night. I mean, it got dimmer, but so I'm sure you and myself, and probably a lot of people listening to this or watching this have gotten notifications on Facebook from a company called Technoglow.
No, I haven't.
Oh, you haven't?
We must have different algorithms going.
Technoglow sells a lot of glow products, paint, powders, a whole variety of things. And the powders that they sell are supercharged. They actually have 2 flavors. They have glow, and then they have this super glow. So I bought the super glow, and
that's awesome.
You're not going to believe this, but each one of those has $100 worth of glow powder.
Oh wow!
Castle.
Okay.
Yeah. So those are not inexpensive, but they're limited. There's only a dozen of them. They're $350. If you want a glow creature, this is your only. They're going to go on eBay if they don't sell at Wonderfest.
Okay. So everybody, repeat that again. How many do you have?
12.
And that's it. 12.
That's it. And that's all there will be.
So if you are an early bird person, these will go fast. That's cool. I'm surprised how much they glow. That's great.
It's really cool. It's pretty neat. And the weird thing, it sounds like a lot, but they're expensive to make. But if you remember the ghost of the creature, which was not glow, but it was like a transparent green.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was selling those for $225. I saw one sold on eBay for $650.
Oh wow,
it was crazy. Yeah, okay. It was nuts. So, anyways,
Hey, there you go, eBay.
Yeah.
All right. Up next, your anchor creature, which is an exo facto re-
Yes. So this I call it the Revenge Creature because it's from the Revenge of the Creature movie. But yeah, so this is Jeff Yeager. It's Exo Facto. John Tucky, one of the first John Tucky pieces I actually bought because it's the creature and because it's ultra cool. And it's just beautifully engineered. And even John's version was well engineered. But Bradley Worley took it to a whole other level. There's square brass tubing embedded in the anchor, and then a square brass receptacle in the body of the creature, so that it just fits together. I mean, you don't even need to glue it; it just slides on and stays suspended. So it's really some engineering improvements. The castings are flawless. It's a beautiful piece. Definitely stop by and grab one of those.
Nice.
It's
I
a nice
really, I
piece.
wish this is how the X Plus one, instead of the standing underwater pose they have
Yeah.
with the anchor, I wish it was more like this, where he's at least floating off the ground somehow attached to that anchor. So if you're interested, here you go. This next picture is the standard box art creature, which you said you will have some of.
Yep. Possibly only one. So if you want one of those, stop by and grab that one.
Okay. All right. And then up next, I know this one very well. Wink.
Wink. Okay, so we're into the Hellboy stuff.
Yes.
So I'm going to have a very small number of all of the Hellboy line. So I'm going to have the large 1/3 scale kits, Wink, which is fantastic. That if you're showing the picture of Wink, that's such a beautiful kit.
It is. Yes.
And it really didn't get the love it deserves. But
I agree. I'm surprised. Really surprised.
You printed the master for that. So I got the big Hellboy, the big Cronin. I'm expecting to have 2 Abes. Those are still in work right now with my caster, and we'll have two of the big Winks. So we'll have those from the large scale line, and then we'll have all of the mini busts, which are about 6 or so inches tall, exact same sculpts, miniaturized, and lesser expensive, and take up less room on your shelves. So we'll have all of those. I'll have the mini Hellboy, mini Liz. I don't have any more big Liz, but I'll have mini Liz. Okay. I'll have mini Wink and the mini. Well, that's all the mini busts. Yeah.
Are you phasing these out eventually, or is this a last chance for people?
You know, I would say no.
Okay.
I love the line, and I've kept remolding it because I don't want to let it die.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I feel like it's a part of me or something. And then we got the Hell Baby. I don't know if you got the Hell Baby picture.
It's right there. I got it. Was up next.
So Hell Baby, you want to talk about not getting enough love? Hell Baby got no love. So
I bought one.
Thank you. So those I'm selling the Hell Baby for $50 a piece.
Okay, $50, everybody.
There's a lot of parts to that kit.
Yeah.
It's a gorgeous kit, great castings. You know, come by and grab a Hell Baby. They're beautiful.
Just saying Hell Baby.
He's got a hell penis.
He does have a little hell dink. Yep, I love it. All right, now we're into your Young Frankenstein line, starting off with the Doctor himself.
The Doctor himself. So we're going to have a very small number of all of these, except the current release. So I'm only going to have 3 of each. So if you want anything from the Young Frankenstein line, definitely stop by. So Dr. Frankenstein was the first in the series. I think he was. Maybe the Peter Boyle was the first. I'm trying to remember now.
All right, I'll flip back and forth. There we go.
Yeah, so Frankenstein, the Peter Boyle monster, Igor, and Frau Blucher are all going to be available in very small numbers. And then we've got the new one, if you want to put it up, the Inspector Kemp. And I think you've got a picture there. That's I think all of those are painted by Steve Park, which is
cool.
Does such a beautiful job. But we'll have a few more of the Inspector Kemp, so come by and complete your Young Frankenstein line if you're missing any.
You have your new mummy kit?
Yes. This is the Chaney Jr. Version of the Mummy. Um, gosh, I'm trying to remember the movie now. This is terrible. The Mummy's Tomb. I think
Mummy's
this is the
Tomb.
Mummy's Tomb.
Okay.
But this is a great piece. This is brand new. Jeff just sent me this recently. I just got the molds from Mark Brokaw literally like 5 days ago, and I've already got.
Who painted that in 5 days?
Mr. Lindy, Rick
Wow.
Lindy. Yes, I sent him one of the first castings, and he did a great job. Looks really nice.
That's awesome.
So we'll have that paint up on the table. He's sending that over to me, and we'll have a bunch of those. I've already got them all cast; they're all ready to go. And that's, I think, number 12 in that line with Jeff.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah.
Up next, another mummy-related piece with a fez on his head is
Ardith Bay.
We have the Bride. Anything you want to say about the Bride?
Nope. That paint up's by Saul Alvarez. Beautiful piece.
And then we have a creature on the rocks that is done in a very distinct style.
Yes, and that is Dwayne Pinkney painted that. And we lost Dwayne, a year or two ago. So I'm glad to have that in my collection. Yeah,
that's
it's
a
nice
very
one.
cool paint job. And then we have, I'm guessing Rick Lindy doing Dracula on the stairs.
That's correct.
Look at that.
Dracula is Rick Lindy.
And then Frankenstein, the monster.
Frankenstein, I believe that's also Rick's piece.
And then we have the Hunchback.
Hunchback is another relatively new one, and it's I believe that paint up is by Saul, and it's a gorgeous sculpt. I love that. I know you got it, and
yeah,
I know you prefer to have the whole hunch.
I want a whole hunch.
I know,
but I like it. I love it. But did you see? I primed mine. I like it primed like that.
Yeah, that looks good.
Yeah,
it looks very good.
But I love it. I love the likeness on it. It's just amazing. You can really see the sadness in there. I know. I totally love it.
I love it. You're exactly right. You captured that sad character.
Well, the next one is the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde bust.
Yep.
Do you have a price on all these? Are they all priced differently? Or are they all the same?
Everything is going to be, everything but newer stuff is $60.
Okay.
So I'm thinking everything is going to be $60 except for the Hunchback and the Cheney Mummy. Those will be $75.
And for people who don't know, this Hunchback, I'll go back to us for a second, just so people know. If you haven't seen it, it is a hunk of resin. It is not like there's my head. That's a pretty good. It's a nice chunk of resin.
It's well worth.
Yes.
Yeah, I think. I think we try to be competitive. I think other busts of that category are typically $90 or something. So we try to make it affordable.
Yeah, it totally is, and I think it's worth every penny. Phantom is up next.
Yep, that's a beautiful. I love the base on that. It just looks really cool.
And then a mummy.
The Karloff mummy. Yep, that's the kind of the original mummy, and that's another really great piece. That's also painted by Rick.
And then a Wolfman. I'm guessing Saul.
You got it, Saul Alvarez Wolfman. Yep.
And another creature. This creature.
That is an ex-Typhon Studios piece, and I actually love it. And we sold out of those last Wonderfest. I mean, everybody likes that base with the nameplate kind of cast into it. So we've got 8 of those at the show. So that'll be.
I highly suggest, if you are a creature fan, that is one of my favorite creature busts.
And again, $60. Yeah. So
let me go back so everyone can see that creature right there. And that's painted by Saul too, I'm thinking. All right.
Yep, you're right. Yep, absolutely.
I'm learning. All right, this is weird. What's with this Death Dealer? What's going on here?
Okay, so the Death Dealer. So this is the. Gosh, I should have the.
Did you win a Storage Wars competition somehow?
No.
Okay, auction.
I feel really bad. I've had these for so long. I'm trying to remember the name of the company. I don't know if it's visible on the
Dago. Dago.
Tego. So this was a company in Italy that did these. They were planning to do a full size Death Dealer, or a Barbarian figure, and then the Death Dealer came in after the Barbarian figure. But anyways, these were licensed through Frazetta for the family, and these were pre-paints, and I was kind of working with this guy, trying to get an arrangement with him where I could like help sell his products in the States. It never really worked out, but he convinced me to buy a case of these pre-painted busts, and my plan was I was going to take them to Wonderfest and sell them. So then COVID hit, like while these things were in transit, and I was afraid to open the box. I mean, it was that, remember, COVID was crazy. I mean, I was like, gee, should I even touch the box? It just came from China.
Yeah.
And so
As a
I've had them
bonus,
that
you
long.
get sick.
Yeah. So I've had them that long. It's a beautiful piece. It's really a good size. I don't know if you've got the picture of it there.
Yep, got it.
But I'm not sure exactly how tall it is, but it's a quarter scale bust, and the base is really cool. It's his chainmail, and it drapes down into a base that it sets on.
It almost looks like dragon scales or something on the bottom.
Yeah, it's his chainmail.
Yeah.
So you kind of think of it as a kit. It's two parts really. It's a bust, and then it's his cape attaches with magnets on the back.
Okay.
And I'll be perfectly honest, it's not the greatest fit. So my recommendation would be to glue it together and putty it and
repaint,
seam it and paint it.
Yeah.
And literally in a night you could have a nice piece to put on the shelf.
Right, especially like when you go like pre-paint, sometimes all they're missing are some washes. And you could just detail that armor up a little better with a couple black washes. I've done that with some Lord of the Rings pieces, and it like instantly looks a million times better. So that's cool. That is very cool.
So we'll have those again priced real. I mean, for a pre-paint, I mean it's going to be somewhere between 100 and 150, something like that. No.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And then everyone's childhood hero.
We've only got 4 of those.
Four, everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone's childhood hero, Evel Knievel.
Yes, I love that piece. That debuted at Wonderfest last year. I had a paint up of the bust, but I only had the figure up there as the 3D print. I didn't have anything painted, so I'll have a paint up of both. Stop by and see those. The bust was painted by Steve Park, and the figure was Rick Lindy, and they both look fantastic. So those are very, very affordable. I think the figure's $100 and the bust is $75. So
awesome.
Yeah,
I like that you keep it affordable.
Well, got to.
And then we have a War of the Gargantuas with a boat.
This is another kit that got no love. I'm not sure why. Well, I'm glad Scott's not on this recording right now.
Let me get that cough out. All right. Yes, I am glad Scott's not here as well.
He would tell me why it never sold. But I love the War of the Gargantuas. I think it's a cool piece. He's holding the boat over his head. It's really cool. I'm gonna unload those for $50 a piece. So,
there you go.
So stop by and pick up your Gara's Rage.
All right, and on to probably one of the hottest kits right now that I have seen all over the place. Your Nosferatu pieces, man. You got to be happy with this, right?
That is unbelievable. I never in a million years expected that to take off the way it did. I mean, Mike Berglund sculpted that, and he sculpted it prior to the movie's release. So he sent me a message. We were on our way to dinner one night, and he sent me a message. He's like, "Hey, I've got this thing I'm cooking up. I need someone to print it." And I'm like, "Man, I got so much to do already." And and then I saw it, and I was like, holy crap, that thing is gorgeous. I said, yeah, let's talk. So we worked out an arrangement, and Mike finished the sculpts, and right around the time of the movie came out, and it was perfect timing. It was like a perfect storm. Everybody was going to the movie, and then we posted pictures of the sculpt, and people wanted it. And then what blew my mind, which I think is where you were going, is every time someone bought one, they posted pictures of it painted within a week.
I know.
And I was like, oh my God.
No one does that. Who buys a kit and paints it? Like, what?
I don't, I wish I kept track, but I think the full figure, I think we've sold, I don't know, probably, 40 or 45 of those things. And I got to think I've seen 20 or 25 paint ups, at least. And it's a reasonably priced kit. There's a lot of parts to it. It's 100% 3D printed except for the base. The base is resin, and that's actually created a kind of an interesting problem that I didn't expect. And it's changing my thought process with 3D prints. I'm going to start ensuring that I print lower torsos or at least feet up to the knees solid. Because what happens is people put the figure in that resin base, and the resin base, by design, it's got weight, and it's perfect for displaying your piece. It's not going to tip over, it's not going to fall over, whatever. But what happens is they attach it, they glue it on, and then they pick up the figure by the figure, and the weight of the base will break the keys.
Oh no!
At the feet. So I started printing the lower legs solid. And Mike Van Scoy, he'd probably be like, "Well, yeah, of course." But he's got so much experience. But so learning there, starting to print those. So anyways, it's a great piece. If anybody ever has a problem with a 3D print of mine, you just have to send me a message. I'll take care of you.
Yeah. Good.
Replacement parts. But generally, nobody's had a problem. That thing's got a lot of parts, and it fits together really perfectly, which is amazing.
And just so people know, it does not come with the coffin, correct?
Correct. It does not.
Is that the popcorn bucket?
Bucket. Yeah, that's the popcorn bucket.
It's kind of cool that it fits.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right. Prices for the bust and the figure?
Yep. So the figure is $175. That's what I've been selling it for. The 1/3 scale bust, which the hat for that thing is like the size of a 12-ounce can of soda. I mean, the thing's huge. The 1/3 scale bust is $150, and the 1/4 scale bust is $125.
Awesome. So. All right. On to your boys. You know who I'm
Sam and Dean?
About. Yes, Sam and Dean.
Sam and Dean Winchester. So the Supernatural. So these have never been to Wonderfest. It'll be really interesting to see how people react to them. They're beautiful sculpts, and the paint-ups I have are by Matt McKeeby, and they look really fantastic. I mean, Matt did a great job with the shirts and the clothing, and then and the portraits as well. But the license plates, I mean, it's really cool. We tried to capture something about each character in the base. You get the mark of Cain on Dean, and you got the demon knife on Sam. And so anyways, if you're a fan of the show, they're kind of cool. We're planning to continue to expand that line, but just haven't yet. So we'll see if we decide to go down that path.
Awesome. And then one of your, I think, more ambitious, I don't know if ambitious is the right word, risky, the Polywog.
The Polywog, yes. So I don't know that that's an official title of that thing. I mean, we call it the Polywog.
Yeah.
Mike Berglund sculpted that. It's based on, and I'll have the pictures at my table, but it's based on an actual early maquette that was sculpted in the pre-production of the Creature from the Black Lagoon. So it's a really cool piece. It's 3D printed, 100%. And It's really affordable too. It's like 1/6 scale and it's 135. So so the
For any
polywog-
creature fan, you got to have it. Like you
Yeah,
got to
it's-
have
it's-
the
it's a real-
transition.
It's a fun piece. It's
Yeah.
fun, and I didn't send you a picture of it, but I'll also have the bust version of that polywog
Okay.
in the bust lineup.
And then to round things out, we have
Mhm.
JFK.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So JFK, this is another one that's kind of a risk, I guess, if you will, but it's something I always wanted the Aurora JFK,
Yeah.
and I don't even know that I've ever gotten it. I don't think I have it, but you see pictures of it. It's absolutely horrible. I mean, it's just terrible. And so Mike Berglund, I sent him some pictures. I said, hey, I'm interested in doing something. Let me know what you think. And he likes sculpting monsters. I mean, he'd rather sculpt a gelatinous ooze with arms and a head
Yes.
than coming out of a swamp than a human. So but if you challenge Michael Berglund, he accepts the challenge. So he's like, okay, challenge accepted. Let me see what I can do. And then the way he works, it's like within 3 days, he sent me pictures of a preliminary sculpt, and I was like, holy cow!
That's awesome.
So we greenlit the whole thing, and he very quickly had a really cool approach to the diorama, the base, a curved back wall, which the Oval Office would be curved. I mean, it's and then the picture on the wall will come with a nice as high res as I can of the PT 109, the portrait that was on the wall in the original kit.
Awesome. That's good to see.
I'm just going to have that on display. I'm not going to have the kits available yet, but Mark Brokaw just finished molding the fireplace for me, so it will be all the base parts will be resin cast, and the figure and all the little fiddly bits will be 3D printed. So come see that at the table. It'll be something to look at and be pretty cool.
Very cool. All right. Well, that rounds it out. Any other news? Anything else you want to say to everyone?
No, just come by the table. I mean, we're there's no real rules or anything at our table. We just want you to stop by and say hello, and I don't know, maybe we'll have some bubble gum at the table. Yeah, we didn't mention the They Live bus. Yeah, we have that too, and maybe we'll have some bubble gum because that whole thing.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm here to chew bubble gum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubble gum. So we'll have some bubble gum at the table, and just look forward to seeing people and socializing. And
yeah, I'm looking forward to it too.
Yeah.
To find Mark's table, you walk in the door, you go to the center aisle, you turn right, and at the very end, you turn left. They're right there at the end cap
right across from George Stevenson.
Yep, right across from Blackheart. So this is awesome, Mark. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this and coming on and showing your stuff.
Thanks for taking so much time. I appreciate it.
Have a great Wonderfest, man. We'll see you soon.
I can't wait.
See you soon.
All right. See you. Bye.
Here we are with another Wonderfest vendor, NY3D Creations, Mike Van Scoy. Mike's going to go over with some product that he will have at Wonderfest, and we'll tell you where he's at in Dealer Room B, because I like to bust his chops about being in Dealer Room B. But Mike, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
And this is your second Wonderfest?
So I've never been a vendor at Wonderfest before.
Oh, okay.
I went to Wonderfest a few times, but I actually paid for a table COVID year, and it got canceled, and we don't know what happened there.
Okay.
But I've done Jersey Fest 3 times, so
Okay.
Good, you're in for a treat. It'll be fun.
And so, just for the record, it's NY3D Creations.
Oh, NY3. Yeah, that's right.
I don't live in New York anymore. I know, it's too late to change that. It's branded already. So
you can think of new words to go with NY.
Yeah, not your 3D Creations.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, come. We should make a contest.
Contest.
If anybody has any suggestions,
There we go. So I'll start out by saying, a couple months ago, Mike started coming out with a series of kits from the movie Spaceballs, which I thought was a great idea because no one had done it.
And before you get there, Scott, we have a map. We want to tell him where his table's going to be.
Oh, okay. All right. So before we get there, we have a map. And when you walk into dealer room B, Mike is got a table with
we're the first two tables. Right hand side, right down the stairs. Tables 7 and 8. Myself and Jerry Frade from Just Paint It.
Yeah, Jerry.
Yeah, Jerry's the greatest guy ever, and he's close to me. He's in New Jersey, so we kind of teamed up and collabed to have the two tables and kind of share logistics to get down there, the van and the drive and, all that type of stuff. We're not cuddling at night in the hotel room. We have separate rooms.
Aww.
We are going to be in a van together for almost 16 hours, so we'll see.
So if Jerry's driving and he starts to do this, it's time to pull over. Because on our Friday night group, Jerry will sit there and do this. Next thing you know, Jerry's out cold.
I can say we're going to drive through the night, and I'm going to keep my eye on him, because if he starts to do this in the passenger seat and lean back, I know that I'm in for it for the rest of the night.
If Jerry does need someone to cuddle with, I know someone who does tend to do that at Wonderfest.
Yeah.
So, yes, we'll be at table 7 and 8. I believe it's 7 and 8, right?
Yes.
On the map.
Yep.
And it will be Jerry Frade, Just Paint It, and myself, NY3D Creations. And then we're also going to host, my business has kind of changed through the past couple of years, and I kind of have adapted and helped other producers get their 3D prints. So I am going to host and have with me at my table Saul Alvarez and his line of kits, as well as Joe Hudson and his line of kits. So I'll have all of my Spaceball stuff there, and then those two will be there as well with their own kits as guests at my table. So,
and Joe's company is HG Designs.
Joe is HG Designs, yes.
And Saul is Silver
Screen. Goes
Screen.
by Silver Screen Icons.
Yeah, there you go.
I guess Saul. He also has Alvarez Paints, I think, or Alvarez Arts on Facebook.
Okay.
As well, I don't know which one he goes.
Most people should know who Saul is.
Yeah, everybody knows who Saul is. That's for sure.
And then Jerry is Just Paint It.
Jerry is Just Paint It on YouTube, and I think he's got a Facebook as well. Just Paint It now too. That he's got a group
and YouTube. He has his big. He does a lot of stuff on YouTube.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's get into it. Scott, introduce the first.
All right, so you decided to do these Spaceball kits.
So yeah, I did the Spaceballs line. I thought it was the greatest idea in the world. It hasn't so far been as great as I thought it was going to be, but so at Wonderfest, we're going to have a bunch of stuff there, and we're going to aggressively price it. So if you're interested in Spaceball stuff, I'm going to have it all there, and I'm going to have really good pricing. I'm not going to talk about that here. You got to come see us at the table. We're also going to have free candy, so keep that in mind.
Oh, Scott's interested now.
And not the Smarties either. We're going to have some real stuff there. So
yeah, I want like 3 Musketeers and Hershey bars. I don't want no bullshit Smarties or Dots or any bullshit.
Twizzlers and Hershey Kisses are not part of it. So
dumb. Hershey Kisses are okay.
I like Twizzlers.
And I want to go on record as saying I thought Spaceballs was a great idea too. And I am not a fan of the movie, but I know that the generation a little after me, which is you and Jason, love that movie. A lot of people love that movie.
Who doesn't like Mel Brooks?
Star Wars connection.
Who doesn't like Mel Brooks? Come on,
And so I was shocked it's not doing as well as you had hoped. But I think when people see it, I think they're gonna like it.
I also haven't had this at a show yet. As well as some of my older stuff, I haven't had at a show. These are all exclusive to me. So again, hopefully we'll see. Some of them are we've got some paint ups now as well, so people can see. And some more paint ups coming as well. I don't know. You want to start going through the?
Yeah, we can start. We'll start with the alien. We've got the alien here.
So yeah, we decided to do the chest burster. That's the most recent one. It will include clear salt and pepper shakers, printed clear, so you can just paint the top silver. They're all one piece. And the ketchup and mustard bottle just to kind of play off of the, being on the counter, and I'm going to include a sticker that you can't. I don't know if you caught it. Jason, you've seen the movie. I can't say to Scott that, did you catch it? You barely catch it, but there's a placemat on the counter that says Spaceballs the placemat. You barely catch it in the film, but I'm going to include a sticker so you could stick it on the base.
Very
as well.
cool. Very
So,
cool.
And a disclaimer: these are not salt and pepper shakers for real use, nor are the ketchup and mustard bottles.
I've had a couple people ask me about that, and I'm not quite certain. I know pepper would be okay, but I'm not sure what salt would do to a 3D print. We'll have to maybe test that at the show. We'll
I would, if anything, I'd put sugar in it if you wanted to. I mean, because
Yeah.
with the clearness, or go buy yourself a set of salt and pepper shakers to put on there. That
Well,
if you wanted, but
it will include the clear 3D print. So that's going to be in one size only for the show. It's about equivalent to what I would call 6 scale, a 9 to 10 inch model, but with the pose and everything, the sizing of the head and the chest, it's equivalent to a 6 scale figure. So,
and let's give the paint credit to
so yeah, the paint up there, I don't know which picture you're showing, but the paint up was done by Gilbert Mondragon, Red Dragon Model Works. Funny story, he gets these things and he's like, I'm gonna look at it for a couple of days, and and then 2 hours later it's painted.
And we got Gil is anti-ketchup, so Jason, because you're very pro ketchup. But he talks about Chicago dogs and not putting ketchup on, which I know you don't do either.
Yeah,
though,
no.
But
one of the stipulations when I sent them the kit was you have to paint the ketchup bottle red. I don't.
Yeah,
care.
it has to be. You have to paint the ketchup
mustard. So
wait, he doesn't like ketchup?
Well, nobody in Chicago apparently likes
No,
ketchup.
I love ketchup, just not on hot dogs.
Well, okay, there you go.
He puts it on pizza, though, Mike.
I do.
He'll put it on pizza. Okay, it's.
I come from an area where a hot dog is a dirty water dog out of a cart that you put ketchup and onion on, and that's your hot dog.
Oh.
So it's where I grew up.
There.
Listen, I don't pick on anybody for
Hold on.
that.
Let me go. You can't. You got that dog in me. Sticker. Anyway.
All right. Next up.
So
Shorts.
we've got Yogurt the figurine. So again, it's going to be equivalent to 6 scale. I'm not going to have any of the small stuff there, just the kind of 12-inch and under figures.
Yeah, I think that's a good take.
Yeah, so Yogurt with the little doll. That was. We also have a display that's going to be painted up. I don't know if that picture shows as well.
Yep.
Painted again by Gilbert Mondragon. God bless him. He painted both of these in 4 days for me. So
that's how it always goes for Wonderfest.
It really is. So we've got Yogurt, and then we've got our Barf line. Barf was done as a figurine and a bust. So we're using the Universal Spaceballs base. We'll get to that in a second, but you've got Barf there with his posed after the movie poster scene. So you got him with the cookie in his hand. Funny story that the on his chest is a dog pin that I didn't even know was there, and the artist caught it off of the poster and sculpted it onto his chest. That's a funny thing. I didn't even see it until I got the file, and I was like, wow, he's good, man. He caught that. So yeah, we got Barf, and that paint up was done by Sal Alvarez there. So you can see, and then we've got the figurine as well, where I took the pose from him carrying the box of hey boss, you want a snack, when he comes in with the box, and included with the kit is a if you want to, it's a resin printed box for the cookies, but then also I printed one out of cardboard that you can fold up and glue and kind of have the cardboard box as well. So there's a picture of that as well. And then we've got the Lone Star. I wanted to have the set so you could have Barf and Lone Star, and I'll probably have a combo deal. If you buy both of them, you'll get a reduced price. We'll talk. You'll see that at the show. So we got Lone Star looking at his Schwartz ring. And then we've got the base, the universal base is both from, so I made the bus, out of the base, and, the bus will come with stickers as well. It'll come with the I Love Uranus sticker and the Eagle 5 sticker, as well as the license plate sticker. So you can kind of, paint that up, to match the bus, if you will, the Winnebago.
I love Uranus. We should sell those. We should just make those as normal bumper stickers.
They do. They have them on Amazon, actually.
Do they really?
There you go.
Yeah. And then you got the figurine, with him using the Schwartz. Again, that'll be in 6 scale, about 12 inch. They all have the universal base, kind of Spaceballs, the figurine base. And then we've got Pizza the Hut, which is my personal favorite. I was cooking that one up for a while. So Pizza comes by himself, and then as a set as well with Vinny, and we've got Vinny as well. So I'm gonna have very limited quantities of them alone. I'll probably just sell them as a set, because I think it goes, that 2-piece goes well together. I think you kind of got to have both if you're gonna have it. So
I love those glasses that they printed. That's amazing.
Yeah, let me tell you, that was not fun. That was not fun. And the Vinny caricature, this is a Scott special. The arm is not keyed into the chest. So if you want to just do Vinny by himself without the arm, I know how people don't like.
Hold on, that's a Jason special. That's not a Scott special.
But there it works. Like there, it's cut, right? It angles right. I like it like.
Yeah, I mean, you can glue it to the chest, or you can emit it completely. So, and then I'm going to bring some of my classic pieces that are exclusive to me that have never really been at Wonderfest before. So I'll have my Barbara Eden, I Dream a Genie, my Raquel Welch, 6 Million BC. Their paint-ups are there as well. Those are all done by Jerry Frade. And then my Willy Wonka, my exclusive Willy Wonka, Gene Wilder. And then I'm going to bring a few Necrons, because the Necron seems to sell everywhere, always. So
yeah, sci-fi guys.
Necron is so popular. So that's for NY3D. That's what I'm going to have there.
Okay.
You'll have Jerry Frade there as well.
So yeah, Jerry just sent me today. So I put these pictures in of Sully. So I'll throw this up real quick.
Okay.
And then we can go through the rest.
Unveil his newest. I was just going to say, his Warriors line. I can't even keep track. He's just, he's making them so fast. I don't even know which ones are the most recent one. But
that's a really nice face sculpt on that thing. That is
Sully's
really
up
nice.
next. Debut at Wonderfest. I think it said it's 100. A bust will be coming later in June.
Yep. So I helped Jerry out with the engineering of that stuff. Just, he's kind of more independent now. He's kind of become a big boy, and he's doing most of his stuff himself now, but I still help him with the basing and stuff. So he'll have the Warriors line there if you're interested. And I would suggest everybody go to his YouTube, because he's got these things on full display with paint-ups and everything. So if you want to see this stuff, you can, there's no better way to buy a kit than to see it on YouTube, right? So, and then the Tremors set as well. He has the iconic scene with them with the guy's head in the sand. And I believe the busts will be there as well. He's going to have those busts at the show. I don't think he showed those really yet, but he did tell me that they will be at the show. And then Jerry has started the Starship Troopers line,
which is really, I'm excited.
Yeah, so he's got his Johnny Rico, and his Dizzy. I'm not sure, what. Yeah, I think go to his YouTube. He just did a video about him, which ones will be available at the show and stuff. And then his Alien Romulus line as well, with the I don't know how many people were fans of the movie, but the
android, he's the best character in the whole movie.
Yeah, I don't remember the guy's name. I don't remember his name. I only saw the movie once. Jerry made me watch it because I helped him out with the base for the bust. So we duplicated there's a scene where Rook is on the counter on the TV, and we actually made the console with the TV, so you can, that's the base for the figure, and he's going to print it in clear, so you can light it up and have maybe Rook on the TV screen.
Oh, cool. Okay.
For the base for the bust. So I helped him out with that. So that's Jerry's stuff. And then, we're going to, like I said, I got Joe Hudson with me. Joe is a great guy, and as my business has kind of evolved, I've kind of become, I don't want to say partners because they are Joe's stuff. They're Joe's kits. I'm just a collaborator with him, and I help him produce his stuff and get it out there. So I felt it was only right to bring Joe along and, let him show off some of his stuff. So you guys have seen Jason did a great review of the 50-foot woman.
Yeah, that's cool.
So Joe will have a couple of them there. And then his poster girls with the Elvira, which was a poster, by the way.
I did find out too.
Yeah, that was scened after a poster of Elvira. It was called Moonbathing, I think it was called, or something. The poster. So great sculpt of that with the clear blue moon. It's actually really good. You have to see that one painted to really appreciate it. And then of course Farah, everybody's favorite Farah.
Scott's
will be
favorite.
here. And then Joe has some busts as well. I think I only put a picture of Tony in there, but he has the Quint bust also. I don't think he's actually painted that one yet, and then the unveiling and the debut of the makeup or haircut of the apes, as Joe's calling it now. There's a story on my Facebook page about this. Real quick, I don't want to take forever, but Joe had that vision of that photo of the John Chambers giving Roddy the haircut while they're reading the magazine, and he's such a fan of the magazine, and in the magazine there's the Fly getting a haircut as well. So he had this vision to bring this thing to life, and it's taken quite a quite a long time and a lot of work, but it's finally going to debut there, and you guys are going to be blown away by his paint job.
And Joe sends me a picture every stripe he puts on the Joe, go ahead and talk about the base too. What you did with the base, because I know you engineered.
It was really a trifecta of Joe's vision, and the artist, getting the sculpts perfect, but the artists sometimes, and this is a whole nother conversation, artists don't print, so they don't understand. And that's kind of where I come in with the engineering thing, you know what I mean? And kind of assist with that. How does it orientate? And I had the idea to do the barber pole, underneath him. And we sculpted it, and he sculpted it. I didn't like it. We made another one. And then I found, clear PVC. So now you're going to have the barber pole and clear PVC to go around it, and that's going to be included with the kit. So wait till you see this paint job when it's there. I don't want to.
I don't sneak peeks that I saw, it looks amazing.
Yeah, and it's really going to set the kit off. It's been really popular. It's a pre-order only, and you have to contact Joe directly if you want one of these. I don't think you're going to be able to get one now at the Wonderfest sale price. I think that's done and over. I don't know how much he's going to raise the price for the show or for after the show, but they'll still be available. But, there's quite a few of them that got pre-ordered. So that was really successful. And, Joe is a great guy. Come support him. Come say hi. He's also going to have some of Joe's gotten into the paintbrushes stuff. I don't know if he's talked to you guys about that.
Yeah, we've had them talked about those on here.
Yeah, I think
so he will have his brushes there. That's good.
He's going to have some of his brushes for sale, as well as some of his magazines, I think he said, so come by and get an autograph from Joe.
And I'm really hoping he brings some 8x10s of his work so that he'll stop sending them to me in a private message. And maybe I can have him sign one or two of them. And, and we got a thing going. Joe sends me pictures. And I tell him how bad he sucks. And, because he doesn't. That's the thing. He doesn't. So I just tell him I hate him and stuff like that. And he likes that. Joe likes to be hated.
And then, I also have Saul Alvarez with me. And, Saul and I have known each other for a very long time. And I don't know if anybody really knows this, but Saul was one of the first guys to really do the digital file into the casting 3D printing type stuff. He was the one who brought Daniel Angelozzi into the hobby, basically, that now everybody uses. He was the first one to do it. And Sal and I have known each other for a very long time. We never really collaborated until recently. And, now we're kind of yin and yang. We talk every day. Love you, buddy. So he's brought back a lot of his older kits and kind of rejuvenated them. And we've brought some new bases. We've changed some of them. So he's going to have a lot of that there. A lot of re-engineering has gone into some of the kits because, so basically we'll start with the Bela Lugosi. So the Bela Lugosi got rebased. And, he's going with this motif now of having the logo on the base. So you have the Dracula logo now on the base.
I like that.
And there'll be two heads that you could buy. So you can get the top hat, which he is seen in one scene of the film with the top hat on. And we kind of gave it a little character by tilting the head to the right a little bit and giving him a little smirk like the picture.
I have numerous Dracula busts, so I don't need any more. But when I see this top hat, I'm like, I might need one more because I really like it. Is a scene. It's a scene where it's only minutes that he's got the top hat on.
Yes, very brief. It's very, very brief. You see him with the top hat, but
I don't want to hear the purist fucking bitching that the medallion's not in that scene. Then you pay the sculptor to sculpt a new bust. Okay, that's what I would say. Who cares?
Well, listen. So the idea of this is that the head will fit into the original bust, and the base is also universal to the original bust. So, if you have one already and you want to try to get ahead or whatever, you got to talk to Saul. He's not going to have it like that at the show, but it is possible to do that, and that's one of the beauties of 3D printing. That's a whole nother concept that you guys should really have Saul on to talk about that, because it's kind of changed the way he thinks about things now. About well, wait a minute, we can just we can do this to the head and we can just have it.
Yeah.
It changes the way a lot of people should be thinking about things.
Yeah, and the real evidence to that is with the Lawn of 1,000 Faces kit, which, there you go.
There you go.
Oh wait,
the Lawn of 1,000 Faces kit, if you ever bought the resin one, was a bitch to put together, the case, because it had little metal parts and it was cast and it was a horrible. The way that the trays went in, it was a nightmare for most people. So we were able to re-engineer and 3D print the bracket system that the trays fit on. And it goes together like a snap. It's perfect. It's so easy to put together. So that changed that entire kit, So that will be there as well, re-released as well, re-engineered, if you will, with that. And then another example would be the London After Midnight, another extremely popular sculpt that, Saul had said to me one day, gee, it would be great to have a lantern for this. And I went into my CAD program and I made him a lantern. So now we have the kit will come with the original one hand out, or it will come with a hand that keys right in and has the lantern with the clear center piece. So
you made that lantern?
I made it myself.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Should I mention here too that this was a scan of an original sculpt?
So that's a whole nother.
But it's still it came out beautiful. It's
again, that's a whole nother conversation of preservation. Saul's lost the masters to these. He no longer has. He took a clean one. He got it scanned and had it cleaned up as best as it can, and it's a great way to preserve. It has now preserved the original sculpt in its entirety without losing it. So and he did the same thing with the Phantom of the Opera as well. So you've got the Lawn Phantom, and that again is rebased, kind of to match the set with the the logo, the new logo base. Okay. And then Saul also has his new kits, which are, the reason we're talking now, is the bride in a bust, that's a quarter scale bust. He's got his Vlad the Impaler. I call it Vlad the Impaler. It's basically Gary Oldman in the armor. So Vlad the Impaler comes in a quarter scale bust, okay, or a full 1/6 scale figurine. Okay, so you have the painted version of the half. I guess you can't really. What do you call that? A half bust, a half figure?
Yeah.
It's got both arms, so I guess, right? That's another conversation. And then the full figure as well for that and the bride. He will have painted versions there, as well as limited copies of them for sale in kit form. So Saul wanted me to point out, if anybody wants one of these things, and they know they do, please get in touch with him, and he'll try to have your name on the box, if you will. And then we brought back the old man with the lantern, the old man Dracula with the hanging lantern. And one of the things that I added was printing it now in clear and hollowing it out, so you can put a little twinkling light in the center of that thing. And for years that was just, you had to paint it. You know what I mean? So again, the beauty of re-engineering it and 3D printing it, you now have a clear lantern that you can light up.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah, that's a great little add-on. So as well as Lucy will be there as well. The classic Lucy with the frills. That the story of me meeting Saul is actually that kit. When he released that kit, he couldn't cast the frills.
I remember that.
He came to me and said, "Can you 3D print these things for me?" And I said, "I could 3D print anything." And we were fast friends after that. So,
and I will go on record here saying, I don't see how you could resin cast that.
Oh no,
with any success. And again, this goes to another conversation, but
and I'm authorized to say there will also be several surprises there from Mr. Alvarez. You need to come see him. He's been teasing for a little while. He's going to have some very big surprises there, as well as some stuff that everybody's been wanting for a while. So
cool.
That's all I will say.
Well, you are going to have a very busy table over there in room
B. I hope so. We're in room B. It's going to be the party room. Clothing is optional. So come on by and see us.
That's awesome.
I want to mention your post. You were talking about maybe some YouTube stars stopping by, and I just want to know what's the pay scale on that for those guys if they come by. So it's
zero.
I don't know. You have to talk to them. It's negotiable. We're gonna have Gilbert come down from Chicago. He's gonna visit us, as well as Steve Sutton. Scale Model Kit Review is going to be there as well, kind of hanging out. So
it'd be Gilbert's first Wonderfest. He can show us all how to paint the best blonde hair ever.
Believe it or not, he's never been to Wonderfest before. So
that's cool. That's
he's gonna love it. I think Gil's gonna love it.
Steve either. Steve has never been to Wonderfest either. So
really,
I don't think I've met Steve before too. So that's
it's their first trip. So if you're familiar with Steve and Gil and what they do on YouTube and stuff, Steve has a huge channel. I mean, he's been doing YouTube for 10 years. So come by, he'll be there. I'm sure you could talk him into a Polaroid.
Well, thanks, Mike. This was great. I wish you all the luck at your table over there in room B. Scott.
Room B. Yes, room B. Mike, he's the headliner in room B. So there you go. First
you're
table
gonna start
on
a
your
fight
right.
saying that. You're going to start a fight.
Yeah, I know I am. That's why I said it.
I don't know about that.
So
thank you for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Our next Wonderfest dealer is Jesse Garcia from Garage Kits US Creative. GK US Creative is the Facebook page. And Jesse is going to be at this point in time in table 37 in dealer room B at Wonderfest. And are you still looking, Jesse, at a possible change if they offer you dealer room A or?
If they did, I'd be open to it, but depends on where it is. But I'm kind of happy with the idea of being in dealer room B.
Okay.
So Saul and Mike and and Joe Hudson, a couple of other guys are going to be directly right in front of me. So, which is going to be great because this is the first year in 19 years that I'm going alone. Nobody's coming with me, so I'll take all the help I can get.
Cool.
That's because Claro's a lazy ass. That's just in case he watches. I want Claro to know.
I can guarantee you he doesn't.
Okay. Well, that's all right. We'll send him the segment. Hey, just a quick update here that we're going to have to edit in. While we were recording Jesse's segment, Jesse was notified of a table change, and I think he's going to take it. So, Jesse, go ahead and tell everyone where you're going to be at now.
Yeah, I will actually be at table 34, which is one of my old tables. So I'll be back in my usual spot in dealer room A.
You're bringing some new stuff. You're bringing some old stuff. We've got some pictures up here, and if we go out of order, forgive me, but
no
we'll
problem.
do the best we can. So we're going to start out with you're going to have your Lucille Ball Admiral Ball kits there, but you've
Yep.
also got new size for this. So go ahead and talk about that if you want.
I'll be bringing on our tables. You'll see the quarter scale that was built up by Anya for me. Then you'll also see, by comparison, a 1/6 scale, which is smaller because a lot of people didn't want the quarter scale. That it doesn't have a large footprint, but it is a large kit, and I get that some people wouldn't want that size. So, and I also have the Christmas ornament, which I sized to be exactly like the Hallmark keepsake ornament line.
Mm-hmm.
So it is the same exact size. So you can go with anybody. And I will have the original series, which has sort of like the yellow smock kind of thing, and the Next Generation, which is the kind of like Janeway Next Generation looking outfit.
Okay.
Very cool.
And then next up, I have in our photo gallery here, sculpted by the talented Mr. Jim Maddox, and this build and paint up by Randy Van Dyke.
That
go
Randy
ahead.
guy.
That Randy.
Okay.
Trouble.
This is a show that is very near and dear to my heart. I fell in love with it about the same time. I think it ran 75, 76. It was 2 seasons. It was a British series. And this character was introduced in the first episode of the 2nd season, The Metamorph. Her name is Maya, played by Catherine Schell. Amazing lady. She was a Bond girl, believe it or not. And I've always seen the Space 1999, the Eagle transports, and this, all of these ships get so much love in models, but the actors never.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's time to correct that. I'm doing a whole series of them. The next one is going to be Koenig, of course, then Russell, and then it's going to be interesting because Nick Tate's going to be like right near my table. So I'm going to is it okay with you if I do this? I'll get you one. But I've met him. He's a super, super nice man. So this one will be available in quarter scale and in 1/6 scale. I'm going to bring about maybe 6 to 8 of the quarter scales and about maybe 15 of the 1/6 scale, because I don't know what anybody's going to want. But one of the things that I'm going to do at the show is if I run out of anything, you want to buy it, you can buy it and I'll ship it to you as soon as I get home, free of charge. I'll pay the shipping myself.
As long as you live in the United States.
True.
Get that in there.
I just got wind that there's going to be a strike in Canada.
Mm.
So.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have never seen.
I should mention too, these first pieces we're talking about are completely 3D printed. Just so folks know,
Yep.
They're all 3D printed, and we'll move on to the next in your.
I really
Hollywood.
like that base. I just want to say for a second.
Oh, on the.
Yeah, I really like that.
Do you know what that base is?
No, because I've never seen the show, so I don't.
I'll send you a picture of what it is. It's an old 8-track tape player.
Oh wow!
That came in. It looks exactly like that. It's just got a radio on top, and then it's got an 8-track player. I'll send you a picture of it so you can see it from the 70s. I used to have one. When we cooked this up, I'm kind of like, that would be a kind of cool base. Just kind of like replace the accoutrement and the mechanics of it with Moonbase Alpha.
Nice.
But that's what that base actually is.
That's very cool.
I remember that. Now that you said that, I remember those. Jason's a little young.
I
but...
think it.
Yeah, they were.
Maybe
they were
there's some
popular
distant memory in my brain that made me. Yeah. Cool. All right.
Okay, so the next up I have here is the Hollywood Icons Silver. What are you calling these?
Yes. This is the Hollywood Legends.
Hollywood Legends. Okay. And
this one is Mae West, who has always been an absolute favorite of mine. I loved her sassiness and she was decades ahead of her time when, she was working in Hollywood. She took no shit from nobody. Unfortunately, much later in her career, she did become kind of a bit of a caricature of herself because she couldn't let the persona go. Mm-hmm. But her movies are just a hoot and a holler. There's one guy there's one movie, I can't remember which one it was, but he's like, oh, your hair, your shoulders, your skin, your thing. She says, wait a minute. Is this a proposal? Or are you taking inventory? She just had these great one-liners, these zingers that were so amazing. And if anybody who's never seen a Mae West movie, you really need to make a point of watching a few of them.
I'll bet you there's one of us here that hasn't.
I might have. I don't know.
Stuff. What are you going to have as far as the denizens?
I have a bunch of like onesies and twosies that I have here. So I'm going to take them to the show. As a matter of fact, the construct, I just today got the digital file. So from now on, no more casting, no more nothing. These will be printed digitally. And I can also make them in different sizes. So if somebody wants a really smaller construct and whatever, I can do it. One of the things that I wanted to do with this piece is actually, I wanted the wizard to have certain, this construct is meant to be his personal guard. That's why it's like silver and gold and very elite, because the wizard was always very vain. But I want to have guards for the castle, so I'm going to change a lot of the armor, and we're going to keep the wheel and the tire, but we're going to change just about everything else. And each their one. I'm also having the flying monkeys worked on right now.
Oh, wow.
Which, yeah, these will be, since in the Wizard of Oz, they're chimpanzees with birds' wings. These are going to be mandrills. Have you ever seen a mandrill? It's like that, the beautiful baboon with like the blue and the blue and the red snout, but with dragon wings.
That'll be cool.
So that's being worked on right now. So we'll finally have that one done.
And up next, I think, is a Tin Man, right?
Got the Tin Man's up next. Yeah. Yep.
That one was so. I still have a lot. These are still cast. I still have castings which are resin. One thing that I've discovered with the Tin Man is I highly recommend everybody to put in some extra supports between the legs and the torso, because even though we reinforced it, depending on where and how you put it, it can bend over time. So I do tell everybody, get a couple of brass rods, wrap some white wire around them, and just give it a little extra support.
I don't ever want to see that thing again.
Well, just look at it this way. Once these castings are gone, I'm going to be digitally printing everything.
So, well, and this is about half digitally printed, right? If I'm not mistaken, it's you. This is a mix.
All the smaller parts and everything are digitally printed. Mm-hmm. And frankly, I really should have digitally printed the torso.
Yeah, because that would lighten it up and stuff.
Yeah, it would exactly. I should have done that, but you live and you learn. So the bases of all of the bases of all the denizens will still be resin cast, traditional resin cast, because those are just it's a one pour mold. You don't need to do anything with it. You can gravity feed that one.
Okay. What's the next one Jason has here? Is the wizard.
That one was sculpted by Jim Maddox. The buildup that you see is done by Jim Capone, who I don't know how he did not kill me with. There is listen, that man is forever aces in my eyes. He took every little filigree of detail and just punched it out. He is absolutely amazing. And he's kind of like effectively sort of semi-retired. If he sees something that he likes and he wants to paint, he'll kind of like say, but he's done. I think he wants to enjoy painting his kits for a while.
That's what, yeah.
And good for him. He did. He's done amazing work, and I've loved working with him. He is a gentleman's gentleman.
And then a Toto. You have a Toto left over.
Yeah, you got some Totos left.
I have those are actually, I have like about 5 or 6. Those are the ones that I digitally printed.
Okay.
Last year, everybody's like, oh, I want a Toto. Okay, so I printed half a dozen. I came back home with 5. Okay, hello? What? But, it is. But I've got a few of those. And by the way, I'm having one of the things we're doing, because a lot of people want to buy all 4. They've just discovered the Denizens of Zoe. And I don't have the Scarecrow and the Dottie anymore. Those are retired. Not anymore. I'm having them digitally sculpted. So you will be able to have the Dottie and the Scarecrow. I'm working with a really, really talented digital sculptor. And, you know, I've got Jim and a couple of other people that if I need to tweak something, we can. But so anybody that wants to buy the Fab 4 or the Fab 5, if you want to include the dog, we will be able to do it now.
Are you going to be mimicking the same poses? Or are they new poses of the same characters?
They're going to be, the full figure is going to be in the same pose, but I figured since I'm having these digitally resculpted, why not make them into a bust for those people who collect busts? And I'm going to change out the busts a little bit. Like with the Dottie, both of her arms are kind of like just straight at her side, down at her side. Now I'm going to have like, you know, one arm up and one arm forward with and the good thing is that in doing these digitally, we can get files, STL files of like real guns, really good looking guns. These were they were great, but they were Roberto's interpretation of them. But now we can get STLs that look a lot more real, and you know we can put different things on her. Like I'm adding a knife to her boot, you know, a hunting knife to her boot, and you know, so we're going to do a couple of different things with the busts. And the Scarecrow, I have an idea of him, you know, holding the flamethrower at a different angle. When we do the bust, kind of just change it up a little.
Yeah. Cool.
This next one, I believe, is one of your elementals with the cloud. Sorry, I don't know them all because Avia. So you've got a couple of these coming.
Yes, I have about 4 of those left. Those are that was sculpted by Keith Kopinski, who did an absolutely unbelievable job on that piece. I love it. It's one of my favorites in my collection. I wanted to give her I didn't want her to, because the story in my head, she can never touch the ground or else it diminishes her powers. So no matter where she is, she's always floating above the ground. So I had to kind of incorporate that into the effect of the statue. And Keith and I went through a bunch of ideas, and we found a picture of this ballet dancer, you know, just leaping in the air straight up. If you take the statue and kind of just bend her up like that, it's a ballet dancer. We just kind of took it and changed it a little bit. But that's how we came up with that piece.
And it looks like it's well engineered, so it doesn't sag anywhere. So
nope.
Nice.
So that's always good. All right. Next, Deja Thoris.
Yes, I have 2 left of those, and then that's it. She's gone. I will probably do another one, or I may have this one digitally resculpted. But these are the last 2 that I will have for at least the foreseeable future.
So
was this one of your earlier kits too, wasn't it? One of your
this was one of the, I think that this was the second kit that I worked with Roberto on.
Okay.
And one of the things that nobody catches it. Look at her stomach.
No belly button.
No belly button. Because Barsoomian women are oviviparous. They lay eggs. Ergo, no belly button. Every freaking Deja Thoris I see, it's like, you did not read the books. I've been reading these books since I was 10 years old. I love those books. I lived through those books. I've read them. I'm 61 years old. I've got to have read them at least 30 to 40 times by now.
There's only, 12 of them?
Yeah.
11?
Well, the Mars series and the Venus series. Mm-hmm. So, but I love them all. I have a Thuvia that, for the Maid of Mars, that I have the figure, but I haven't had the Banth sculpted because I just haven't found somebody that can do the Banth that isn't going to rake me over the coals. Mm-hmm. But it might be something that I can just, forego this one and have it digitally sculpted. But it was a companion piece to the Deja.
All right.
So if someone's interested, they should early bird and get in there because there's only 2.
Yep.
Yeah.
Here's something I'll mention. Maybe I can't say this for sure because I'm never in Dealer Room B, but those early bird lines are always for Dealer A. And now there are dealers in Dealer Room B. So if there's something you're going to want, and we're having Hobby Mike NY3D Creations on, and he showed his product, and he's going to be in Dealer Room B along with
Him and Saul and Joe Hudson are directly
Saul and
in
Joe
front.
Hudson, and what's that other guy's name? Oh yeah, Jerry Frade. Those guys are all going to be in there too. So if there's something from any of these guys you want to get in there and get it. So next up, let's talk about our monsters. Our monster line, the Mr. Hyde and the Millie's Monsters. Is that what we're calling them?
Yeah. Well, these were originally Millicent. These are all the first 5 are Millicent's creations. Now, the way I did them is I wanted to do something. Everybody's, oh, you got to do monsters. You got to do monsters. Well, everybody's doing monsters. It's like we're all tripping over ourselves doing the same stuff. And I'm not. Listen, I understand. It sells. I get it, but it's dull. It's like, oh yay, yay, another Frankenstein. Oh yay, another Bella. I'm like, yay, But I understand it does sell. So, but I always wanted to do something in a way that would be original. So I used to think about it in the 1950s, the early 1950s to the late 1950s, when they would have like the big theater marquees, and then they would put these gigantic blow up balloons on top of the theater marquees of the monsters. So I made a series of marquee monsters, and I decided, I had the sculpts for the Millicent. I said, hey, why not? Let's just use this. So I put the monsters on top of their marquee, and Michael Burkhold did these beautiful plates that are interchangeable. So that way the base is always the same. All I got to do is just interchange the front plate with the name of the movie, and I could keep the line going. So I'll have the first 5, which are Hyde, It Came from Another World, Creature from the Black Lagoon, The Mole Man, and who am I missing? Hyde.
Mutant.
Mutant. You said Hyde twice.
A Middle and Mutant. Sorry.
Yeah. The 4 seasons, correct? Is that?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So do a proper. There we go.
These are all influenced by Alphonse Mucha. It's a French artist. Just loved him, or he's Spanish. Loved his work. This was a set that was originally started by Alex and Fabian from Germany, and then I kind of took it over and I added more to it. Ostara is in this. Anya just sent me painted pictures of her, and she's gorgeous. She'll be on our table, and I'll have castings of her. But these are all the castings that they're ever going to be. What I've got in inventory, I think I've got like maybe 10, 11 of each, give or take. And then once they're gone, they're gone.
If you like painting, these are perfect painter pieces. Just
I love the hair. Love the way the hair sculpted. All of them.
Yeah, that all of them were sculpted by Roberto. He's amazing. He was able to take Alphonse Mucha's paintings and put his own special touch on them, and they're beautiful. They're magic.
Let me guess, they're all painted by Jim Capone.
Actually, the picture that you took, those are Jim Capone's personal ones, but the ones that I have on display in my room were painted by Anya.
Ah, okay. All right. Capone, that bastard.
The rival.
Hate Jim Capone. So
Queen of Swords.
Queen of Swords. Yep. Let's Queen of Swords.
This is from a very short-lived Canadian show that lasted 2 seasons. It's sort of like a female Zorro. One of the reasons I fell in love with it is because the girl who plays the queen, the queen, her name is Tessie Santiago. She lives here in Florida in Indian Creek. She used to come into my store when I worked at the Bal Harbor Shops, and we became acquaintances. And I'm like, she walked in, and I was like, I very rarely ever geek out, but I did geek out with her because I loved this show. So, and by the way, she did get one.
Okay.
I made sure that she got one. So, she was thrilled with it. She's like, oh my God. So it's very sweet.
That's cool.
But it's a quarter scale. So it is large, but it's the only scale I wanted it in. And I have 3 of them left, and I know for sure one of them is already sold at the show.
There you go.
Again,
Early bird
got 2
out,
left.
man.
Yep, early bird.
Yep. Okay, so the last one, I believe, is another elemental, the water, which I was
Oceana.
Oceana, yes.
This one is not for the faint of heart. It has to be put together. I have instructions on the website. It has to be put together in a certain order so that the tentacles all fit and they fit through. And there is some jiggering that you need to do. The last one that I have left is only has the it doesn't have the clear water effect, although I can get it made for them if they want it. This one has the it's solid resin water effect.
Okay.
But it's digitally printed, and this is something that I'm going to digitally print. And I think that this one would probably be a better seller at a smaller scale. You know, like not quite miniature, but at least like maybe 4 to 5 inches tall. I think that would work a lot better than doing it in this scale.
I can see that. Yeah, it's a tough piece. So you only have one?
I have one last one left,
Okay.
but I have the digital file, so I can print anything you want.
Okay. And we have a lot of little, well, not a lot of little, but we have a lot of Millicent photos here. So this is not the deluxe kit. This is just the,
this is the basic kit. I do have the files, and I've reworked the files for the deluxe. I do now. Let me be clear. I have 2 deluxe kits, which include the desk and the big round, the big round base, and I'm letting them go for a song. Seriously, I think that they're like $225 for something that massive. $225 is a deal and a half. And I do have a couple of more quarter scale, and these are resin casted kits. The ones that I'm bringing this year are going to be, because everybody was saying they wanted 1/6 scale. So I got the 1/6 scale basic kit done. I haven't test printed the desk, and I had them made thicker so that they could hold their own weight better. But I haven't tested them yet. So anybody who buys one of these and then wants to buy the upgrade to the desk, I'll be able to do that for them. I'm just not going to be able to get everything done in time before the show, unfortunately, because I've got a lot of stuff going on in my personal life at work, and we just signed a bunch of new contracts, and let's just say that they're going to be sucking the blood from me before I leave for Wonderfest.
And I look at this, and I'm looking at those earrings going, oh, I hated printing those earrings. I broke so many of those earrings.
And what you hate those? Hold on a minute. Let me show you something.
I hated printing those earrings. Do you know how many of them earrings I broke despruing? Yeah. Yeah.
Look at this.
Those things.
That's how big they are in 1/6 scale, buddy. And I printed 40 of them at a shot.
And let me tell you, I want to watch you separate them left and right. Hey, and do you separate them left and right? Because I wanted to kill Maddox over that one, because it's like there is a difference. Okay.
I just want to say how good. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I printed them on 2 sides of the plate, and I separated them, and so that way, and I put these into this bag and this into this. So they are. I don't know what the difference is, but okay.
So if you want to know the difference, put them in Chitu box and really zoom in on them, and it's the way they fit in the ear. The key is different. It's the only difference.
Why? It's the same freaking earring. Hey, why?
It's your sculptor, baby, not mine.
Listen, there are times where there are some sculptors that just really over-engineer, and I'm just like, why?
I just want to comment on how good Jim Capone's wood grain paint job is.
Yeah. Yeah, that one, by the way, that will be on display. I'll have the quarter scale that Jim is bringing on display at our table, and then I have. Hold on, let me.
That is so nice. Good. And then the wood grain in the chair too. I mean, in the stool.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It's so good.
And then I'll have the 1/6 scale.
There you go.
On display on the table.
I don't ever want to see those brushes again either. Actually, those brushes were easy to print. I'm not gonna lie; those brushes printed easy. And the pencil on the other kit A lot of
Well, you
people
know what
don't notice, but it says Maddox on the pencil.
Yes.
Real small.
Do you know what I did? You know what I did with the sculpting tool? I filled in the little loop. Once I filled in the loop, no problem.
Oh, you had no problem with me printing the loop, though, fucker. So.
Well, I learned from your mistakes. What can I tell you?
Hey,
So I'll have the big.
Hey,
I'll have the
you got
big
looped
quarter
ones for
scale.
me, though, didn't you?
Well, I'll have the big quarter scale one that Jim is doing, painted, and then I'll have the 1/6 scale for size, so you can see, the size comparison. You tell me which one you want. And I'll have the Millicent bust as well, which has got all the monsters and everything. And then the Lucy, I'm going to do the same thing. I'll have the big quarter scale painted, and then I'll have the 1/6 scale. But I'm going to have the 1/6 scale in the TOS, in the original series costume uniform, so that way people can see what it looks like. And I'm bringing 2 quarter scales of each TNG and TOS, and one of each is already sold to one of my clients.
So, did we forget anything? Have we covered anything? Is there other stuff you're bringing? Are you going to have some odds and ends?
That is about all that I'm bringing. I'm going to be. That's about it. That's about all that I'm bringing. I'm going to be working on some. I'm working on some new stuff. That some of the things like the Dottie and the Scarecrow, you already know. There's a couple of things. The Queen Mombi is almost finished finally. There's a couple of other things that I'm working on that I don't want to tip my hat yet. But that's about it for right now.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us and doing this with all the other people we got on. It's going to be a great episode, so thank you. And can't wait to see you.
Thank you guys, man. Honestly, I know that you guys joke around a lot, but I got to tell you, you guys really do a service for the dealers and the hobby. And I all joking aside, we are really appreciative of what you guys do.
Well, thank you.
Sincerely.
It's all Scott.
Well, I'd say I don't like to brag. So, but yes.
All right, we'll see you in a week. From when we're
we'll see you in a
this
week.
Almost about a week. So awesome. See you soon. Okay, we want to thank everyone that joined us for this episode. It was hard and fast. We're trying to get things organized in between everything that went on. So everyone who joined us in this episode, thank you so much for doing so. And we're going to try, if people like this, please leave us some feedback down below. What we could do better about a Wonderfest preview episode. We'd love to get more people on. If you're wondering why people weren't here or who other producers weren't, we just took people that reached out to us when we said, hey, anyone who wants to come on, these are people that reached out to us. So please reach out to us before Wonderfest. We can make that whole month right before.
Reach out.
Touch faith. You know that song? Touch
Go ahead. I was singing.
Yeah, reach out. Touch faith.
No.
Depeche Mode?
No.
What?
Reach out, I'll be there. Not Depeche Mode. Depeche Mode. Really?
Way better than whatever you're singing. What are you singing?
That was who did that song that I was singing?
You don't even know what you're singing. Anyway, while you're researching, let me finish. Seriously, thank you. I want to do this again. If people hated it, we won't do it again. But please, everyone who came in here, their links and info will be down below. Please visit them at Wonderfest. If you can't make it to Wonderfest, they will have all of this stuff available afterwards. Buy some stuff. We got to support each other, support the hobby, and keep it going. All right? So awesome. Everybody have a great Wonderfest and a safe traveling down there. We have one email to read, and we're going to end it on a sour note from Logan.
4 tops, by the way.
Oh, okay. Your interpretation threw me is the problem. I didn't.
Oh, because you know who the 4 tops are.
I know who the 4 tops are.
We had Anthony on. I almost embarrassed you and asked you if you ever saw To Kill a Mockingbird.
I think I have. I don't remember it, though. Okay. Emails, voicemails, and corrections. It's one email. And it's Wonderfest related. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have read this. We might have some voicemails. I haven't had time to check. This is from our what do we call Logan Taurus? Scuzzfink. What's a good nickname for it?
So it's our scuzz. It's from our scuzz.
It's from our scuzz. Pink. And again, I have to do some on-the-fly editing because Logan has a hard time writing. After watching at least 5 years of Wonderfest on YouTube, I noticed something with some sellers that sell there. They're asking too much money for older kits. Example, Screamin'. Nobody really cares about a company long dead. We know they were mass-produced and they are quite big. Product of 90s. As well as Horizon, really mass-produced. I've seen $75 on a lot of Screaming stuff, and that's some high prices on Horizon. The Jurassic Park especially. And older resin models. Sure, they're not made anymore, but newsflash, there is no price guide for any of this stuff. And does not increase in value like gold or fine art, because there is no real value to these. You go to sell your stuff, it's not to show and tell. Remember, you can't take it with you. In a few more years, a lot of it will end up in landfills. You can share this. Well, thank you, Logan. While I disagree with much of that,
I disagree with a lot of it.
Yes. Go ahead.
Obviously, I will say this about anything you collect or do as a hobby. If you do it to for example, comic books was always one of my things. If you're collecting comic books to make money, you're in it for the wrong reason. If you're in it, and model kit's the same thing. Really, I think it's all of our intentions, or was, to build and paint everything we bought. We just got a little carried away.
Yeah.
But that being said, now, where I will agree with him is I fear that once the baby boomers start to die off, I sometimes wonder what things like Aurora kits and stuff like that, what will happen to their value. Because the people that grew up with it and the people that loved it are not going to be here. So will that still have value? Will it still have the value it did? Okay. I don't know. It's hard to say.
I don't understand the premise of these things don't have value. They absolutely do. Just because it doesn't to you doesn't mean it does for someone. Like, I don't get that.
Anything is worth whatever someone's willing to pay for it.
And if that price is too high, don't buy it. And yeah, there was a lot of crappy kits put out in the 90s. But there's also a lot of really cool stuff that people like. And it depends. I like having Logan around because he provides a point of view that is different than ours most of the time. And it's good to bounce stuff off that. So Logan, I am not ripping on you in any way. But everyone knows that's kind of the contrarian he is. And that's okay.
So while we're bringing this subject up, I'm going online right now looking because he brought up Horizon. Okay. So he brought up Horizon kits and their value. And so what's the one Horizon kit I dog on all the time? Dr. Doom.
Dr. Doom, yes.
Terrible. It's terrible. I have just gone into sold auctions for Horizon Dr. Doom. One sold for $69.99. One sold for $94 almost. Okay. So I got to tell you, you couldn't give me that kit. To me,
that's what he's saying. Why is someone paying $95 for a Dr. Doom?
It's what they want. You know, and
that just shows you, as terrible as that is, someone's willing to pay that money for it. It's not that the price is too high. Someone paid that money for that thing, which I wouldn't do it, but someone did. So it must have meant something to somebody.
You know, and there were some good Horizon kits. Don't get me wrong. I dog on that one because was one of the biggest disappointments to me. Because I was always a fan of the character. And this mess comes out, and I'm like, oh my God. Now, here's an example. The Dark Phoenix, which was another dog. Okay. And I'm looking at sold prices, $28.89, $15. And they sold for more than that at the time. So sometimes you're not going to get anything out of it, even if you hold on to it a long time. So it's like anything. Okay, there's comics you buy for a quarter,
up and down,
that are still only worth a quarter if you can give them away.
Yeah.
There's comics you bought for a quarter that are worth hundreds. So it's just a case of demand, what it was. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So,
all right. Well, we have a tiny gallery here. I think at the end I did get some things sent in terms of gallery submissions. So stay tuned for that. And again, thank you everyone for who joined us. Everybody have a safe trip to Wonderfest. If you're listening to this on the way down, if you're watching it before to get hyped, I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. Please stop by our table. We are, do you know our table number? We promoted everybody else, but we haven't said anything about us. So, I know where we are. You walk in to the middle aisle, you turn left. We actually went as far away from the Worthlings as we can. I think. We went to the opposite end, away from them.
I believe we were at table 27.
Okay. And again, we will have limited amount of things. I just really want to spend this year talking to people, meeting people. We'll be at the table. I want to do a lot more filming this year of the show and of the contest and get that out there. Jamie Sy will be at the table. Brian Clark will be at the table. And we'll be all hanging out. So please stop by and say hello.
Table's only so big. What do you mean?
I know.
Brian
we have
Clark?
to. Maybe we could turn Brian into a table.
So,
I don't have stickers this year. Next year I'm gonna rectify that. I found somebody who I think I'm gonna have somebody design our logo. Scott, are you believing this? I'm gonna let go of something and pay someone to do something.
I think we should have a contest.
No, because no, that's the ultimate letting go, and that's not happening. No.
So you have to control who you're giving up control to.
Yes.
That's not really giving up control.
It's giving up control, but I'm not opening it up to everyone's crayon drawings for our logo. No.
Okay. So that would be funny. We'd probably get some good stuff. Anyway, we should do it anyway. Send them to me.
Yeah.
All right.
Send them to Scott. Send your logo ideas to Scott so I can shoot. Now I'm having an asthma attack.
So die. Anyway, as long as he's dying, I'm gonna go on record here as saying one more thing on the Robert Troch thing. I talked to Terry Webb. Terry usually starts to gather people up about 11:45 on Saturday. So let's call it the same time, 11:45 on Saturday, on the airport side of the hotel, which I believe is the south side of the hotel. Mm-hmm. And again, like we said in the spot, if you don't know, ask someone, and we'll get you guys there.
Cool. All right, we'll see everybody soon. Stop by and say hi. Say goodbye, Scott.
Goodbye, Scott Johansson.
What?
I said goodbye, Scott Johansson.
Oh.
Superstar.